Captain Sinclair. I hope your ship is well. That only Jolly Roger has been through hell. Yo ho, on an adventure we go. In the heated digital high seas, we travel with ease until we reach the outer edge and freeze. The Arctic chill like a very speed hill through the darkness led by our will. Yo ho, on an adventure we go to beyond the outer limits of society, broadcasting the reality. The pirates will always steal the show. It's from WPRPN, you know. Yo ho, on an adventure we go. Docked our vessels in the Skullport Harbor. Your landlubbers will fight for you harder. Your old first mate went AWOL after a drinking deal haul. The legacy of pirate radio is strong. I hope our mates will come along. The changes we seek may not be long. That is why I wrote this song. And we go ho ho, on adventure we go. Welcome everybody, friends, folks, foes, and fellow pirate mateys, to yet another weekly edition of World Pirate Radio News. It's show segment number 315. I'm your host, as always, the Robin Hood's Chief Communications Officer, Jaffe Ryder. WPRPN is the website you'll want to drop by, take a look at, sign up is free. All you simply need is a username, password, and email address. If you happen to run into any problems along the way, be sure to get back to us via our main email, pirate1radio@protonmail.com. That's pirate, the numeral 1, radio@protonmail.com. Take whatever steps are necessary in helping to smooth things over, get you sailing off in just the sort of direction you hope to be. That particular email address is really handy dandy when it comes to PayPal support as well. You might want to take note of that, along with show suggestions and guest ideas that you have in mind you'd like to bounce off of us. Speaking of PayPal support and the like, we also have a Patreon presence, along with online merchandise available up for grabs, including t-shirts, coffee mugs, and the like. Half of everything we do manage to generate through whatever means, including the digital angle as well, which is becoming increasingly more popular these days. Digital credit, as it were. That half of everything goes directly back to the grassroots, very much, of course, in conjunction with the whole hashtag WWRHD, what would Robin Hood do, ethos and philosophy. So, of course, as always, liking, commenting, sharing, remembering to hit subscription, notification buttons, and passing word on to friends, family, and co-workers. Really critical stuff, very much appreciated. appreciated. So if you like what we're doing here, if you've been digging into the archived portion to things, this is our 10th year, of course, so there's a lot to be had as far as free content is concerned. You know, have at it, folks, and you know, do consider helping us out in the form of tips or what have you. Maybe buying us a digital coffee. Just get creative, of course, and keep things sailing along here smoothly as we can possibly manage. Guess that about does it as far as an intro is concerned. We've got a couple of old friends and fellow pirate mateys here dropping in, connecting with us this week via Phoenix, Arizona, Sonia Galactic, and Vinny from Brooklyn. Forget about it. Vinny, just forget about it.
About it.
Hey, how you doing?
Yeah, we're doing okay. So, and is that the way people in Brooklyn really talk to each other?
Hey, forget about it.
Forget about it.
You find that every day. You find that every day in Brooklyn, do you? This is common.
Sometimes in Arizona.
In Arizona too. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Forget about it. Right. Sure. So, all right. Well, thanks for dropping by here, Sonia and Vinny. Last week, Robert actually was the one who decided to, you know, vote with his computer mouse and connect with us here, helping out in the co-host capacity. So, not sure how long, each of you are able to, you know, stay with us this week. We could potentially run as long as 3 hours, maybe a little less, but on tap, you know, or in focus, along with the talking points that we have shared with you here in the Skype end of things, which is, I should remind people, we will be transitioning here shortly to Teams. That's how Microsoft is, what they're doing essentially with the VoIP, the voice over internet protocol, kind of a bit of a makeover, refurbishment, and you know, before we get into the heart of the matter, the meat of substance of, you know, today's show, what have either of you been mucking around with Teams at all, or have you found it to be much different than the original Skype? What are your thoughts to this point?
I'm getting ready to switch over here probably tonight.
Oh yeah. Wow. How about that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Your mic's a little bit quiet. Got a little feedback from the audience, and they're saying it's a little bit quiet. So I don't know if that what you got to do about that. But, yeah.
So okay, I can.
You're not loud enough. Can you?
No, I can actually. I'll have to go into the settings here. Vinny, take over for a moment or two while I get my settings in place. Sometimes things.
Sure. Well, so far my experience with Teams, it's a little smoother than my experience with Skype was. So that's a bit odd. I mean, it's almost dare I say it's an improvement, right?
Right. How's my mic now? Better? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think so.
Can you, well, Vinny, can you can notice a difference? We'll have to hear from the peanut gallery. You're saying, Sonia, the folks out there listening, were saying that it was a little.
Yeah.
This is a little more punch to it now. Anyway.
Yeah, I switched over the configuration.
You should be good.
Yeah. Okay. So if there's any more complaints, do let us know.
We switched it to punchy.
Oh, well.
Yeah, this is.
You switched it to punchy.
To punchy?
Punchy.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm
glad.
Like
the guy in Hawaiian Punch, the mascot, Punchy.
Is that his name?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Fat Mr.
Yeah, actually, that's one of my t-shirts. Don't drink the Kool-Aid kind of thing.
Yeah.
I didn't know his name was Punchy. He's on the shirt. Yes.
Man, I used to love that stuff as a kid. As little did I know at the time. So.
The red number 40, right, and all that.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and that's the thing. I'll tell you. You know, now to mention it, we might as well address this just right off the top before we get into the whole JC he is risen Easter business, which to me is endlessly intriguing, of course, in particular, given, and I can't help but think, there is such a wide number of Christians or people who self-identify as Christians on the planet, and then so many different sects. Like, it's not like everyone's a fundamentalist. A lot of people are, but there's all these different groups and sects and people that dig Christ. We were even Robert and I on a show yesterday, the Morning Star Report. We're watching, this business regarding the authenticity of the Shroud of Turin, and that's mind blowing, man. Like, I think it's increasingly becoming evident to me and probably many others that there's something there. It's like, how would you counterfeit something like that, especially when you're coming up with a sort of high-tech, cutting-edge scientific results that they claim to be, because they're doing some pretty serious examination of the Shroud. But more to the point, that the Druze, not to be confused with the Jews. And isn't that interesting? The Jews and the Druze. And I'm not sure if you know who the Druze are or not, Vinny, but they not only are they're down with Christ, Muhammad, and I guess all the great prophets of the book, as it were. It's similar to Islam, I suppose, and Christianity to some extent. But reincarnation actually is a central part of their belief, their religious view and perspective of who they are and what they're all about, what they, not just what they stand for, what they represent, but how the universe is designed, essentially, how it's set up. But I'm kind of getting a little bit off track here. I did want to address the Kool-Aid, not drinking the Kool-Aid, that whole angle, and with RFK Jr., of course. Maha.
One last point on the Shroud of Turin.
Oh yeah, sure.
There's recreation of Christ using the Shroud of Turin. It's on in my Twitter feed, just in case anyone wants to see
what's that? What do you mean exactly? Recreations?
Well, they marked all the marks of on the Shroud of Turin to the marks on his body.
Yeah, I see. Like, just a sort of, I see what you're saying then. Just an animated version of.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
a recreation. That's
yeah.
Cool.
Just pretty horrific. Not as bad as impalement, I guess. but pretty awful. Just pretty terrible.
It's all no the beach, is it?
It's all what?
It's all no day at the beach, is it? No.
But I'll tell one thing that's quite interesting. Stand by here while we get on top of our, the technical matters, and have this this behind the scenes sort of business addressed here, so we can get Facebook and Telegram configured properly. But there's, the one, we'll come back to Christ in a moment or two. With RFK Jr. though, Maha, a lot of people, do you know what that actually means? Like, make America healthy again. But yeah, but do you know what it really means in Sanskrit? Do you know what Maha means?
I don't know.
It means great.
Oh, great.
Yeah. It means great. So, and I wish RFK Jr. would pick up on that, because I think it's auspicious, very auspicious. They could really, capitalize on that too. And it's not like it's just a lot of your standard sort of lip service that they're paying either. The way that the political game just sort of drags on endlessly, and it's like back and forth, and just a lot of endless theatrics. They're actually delivering, at least Kennedy seems to be. That's my impression. Very serious in working to do all he can because he knows his time is short. He's only got the one term, more than likely, unless the Republicans, I guess, win the presidency again with whoever it is that is will be slated to take Trump's spot. But
if he doesn't run again in 2028, which he said he might do, he may actually be able to do, barring some little tweaks of the 22nd Amendment.
You know what? And it's interesting because Robert Morningstar I think he has the.
He spoke on that last time.
Well,
right?
He did. Do you remember do you remember how he responded to? Even though he is a Trump fan,
it wasn't feasible, I believe.
Why? Do you remember?
Well, it's part of the 22nd Amendment that you simply just can't do it.
It's because he's too old, is what he said. He'd be too old.
Well, there's that too, right? Good thing about it, he's already doddering a little bit, all right. I mean, he did great to get to where he is now,
right?
But another 4 years of this,
yeah,
no, I think it's going to burn him out.
He's like when with Biden, it's like as if it came as a great shock and surprise to so many people. Like, whoa, Biden, gee, it's like, wow, I can't. It's like I was saying right from the get go that the guy's too old. Like, why did they have him there as a candidate against Trump back in 2020? He's not fit to serve, in a multitude of fronts. So, but with that being said, Trump himself, what age was Biden when he ran against Trump? Do you remember?
80s. He's in the 80s something.
Well, isn't he like 82 now?
Yeah, I'm paying attention.
Anyways, and so basically, Trump's at the same age now, more or less, as when Biden, sees the reign, and I'll emphasize
that term. Since we start seeing through the Medicaid Biden.
Yeah, but cognitively, Trump has got it much more together than Biden ever did back during his tenure. A number of years when he became president, because you could see he was doddering, like he was not articulate. He was someone who just was not fit to serve as president, at least not in my mind. And that's as a neutral and objective observer, someone who, I'm not a card carrying anything, expat Canadian. I'm trying to just be level headed and straight shooter on this one. So, and I'll call out Trump as I do, where I see it as appropriate. So, but anyways, it's great to see the
news.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you.
I was just going to say that apparently today the FDA announced a plan to phase out synthetic food dyes.
Yeah.
If you can believe that.
Well, the head of the FDA seems to be really something too. Definitely, it's very refreshing to see someone like, not only is able to talk a good game, but it seems as if they are committed to delivering, in the best interests of all Americans, not just the super elite and the wealthiest. So
well, Jeffy, let me shock you, because I was a big Cheetos fan until I found out that the food dye that they use to color the cheese turns your organs transparent.
That the orange Cheeto dye.
Yeah,
that's just nasty. Yeah. Oh God,
yeah.
Well, and that's one thing we need to emphasize: make Korea healthy again, folks. Because I tell you, we're in about probably it's a similar state of affairs here, with all of the additives, all the chemicals, all the toxins. It's horrific what they're doing, and they're getting away with it.
The fact that we actually pay these idiots to make these so-called rulings. Listen, they're just walking this crap through and just letting it poison us. That's all they're doing.
Yeah.
And they're being paid handsomely for that.
Yeah.
Stupid bastard.
And now is a good time. You brought this up. To remind our listeners, we're not here to offer any formal medical, legal, or financial advice. that we encourage everyone out there listening, because we are primarily here for entertainment and educational purposes, or at least that's what I've heard other hosts talk about. So I figure that's the proper, hopefully safest uh, approach and way of uh, couching things, essentially. But yeah,
Consider us a worldwide bit of entertainment, edutainment.
yeah, but no, quite sincerely though, I really do encourage everyone out there listening, as always, when it comes to matters regarding finances, medical, or legal, to to seek out appropriate professional support, whether locally or through the interwebs. Just ask around, see what credentialed professionals you can contact and get in touch with to help. Hopefully, in the event that you have serious problems pop up, that you're able to, you got to shop around a little too. Uh, Obviously, it's always the best bet. Like seeking medical advice. Whoever just goes and you'd be crazy. I mean, people that go and ask simply one medical expert's opinion, not realizing that a lot of times experts don't always share in the same views and opinions. It's important that we keep that in mind. Obviously, reflect upon that. I know I do. This is something I'm quite aware of. Both of you are on the same page here, I guess. Are you not?
Well, the best if time is not an issue, the best option is always to get a second opinion at least.
Right. Yeah. But just think, if you try to rush something through, and then it can be
I'd go see
see a what?
a shaman. That'd be a second opinion.
Oh, it's interesting you mentioned that. How about the I Ching? I've got a couple of I Chings here. I've got a really important. I got some major life events on the horizon here that I'm having to. You'd actually be a good person to talk to with your tarot, I guess. That would be that'd be okay. I don't see anything wrong with it, frankly. But I don't know how. See, the I Ching, it's binary, whereas the tarot, it's a little different. And the Royal Road, whatever that's supposed to mean, maybe you could help enlighten us a little more. What's that?
And it's more like a guide. It seems to me like the tarot is more like a guide, where you can see things up and coming, where they kind of curse and know where to go, how to route yourself. But the I Ching seems to me like it's also divination, and it's also like a guide. But it seems to me, because maybe it's the binary factor or something, that it's a little more like definite in some way, a little bit, almost like it's more like astrology to me than just spur of the moment divination. And I haven't researched I Ching enough to really say.
It's really easy to learn.
Yeah. I checked it out, but you got to get into the fruits of where it comes from and all that stuff, really feel the vibe.
Hang on a second. Now we got Surveillance, who I think that's DK under another moniker.
Yeah.
Put everyone else on your volume if you can. Yours is good, Jaffe. I'm not sure. Was that I guess it's good now. Was that the earlier comments that he was leaving there? I see. He says, yeah, it's good. Yeah. He says, I'm just scrolling up here. Check out the comments. So good to see you, DK. And who else we got? We got Sonia, of course, over on D Live. A little bit.
DK.
We're working on almost 10 people across the various platforms here, and as far as what
I have a buddy out there, Ms. Jeff, not Jeff Willis, But a new friend that I have, he's listening for the first time too. So hey, Jeff, right on. Thanks for checking us out.
You care, Jeff?
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to disclose his last name, but if you don't think that's the best thing,
I'm,
but
Maverick. I recently met him, so he's a pretty sweet guy so far. Wink, wink.
So, and where's he? Where's he based out of? What does he do for himself? How did you first connect? What more can? Well, no, just whatever you're comfortable with sharing. And would he be someone that we could maybe invite on to the show in some capacity?
Yeah, I'm sure at some point he might like to come on, one of these Tuesdays or whenever, maybe even a Friday.
Well,
but yeah, he's in Arizona. He's not far away, so.
There you go.
One of these Tuesdays or whenever.
Sorry about that. I just had to get a telegram up and running. We're good. We're good now. So
my daughter's calling me too.
Are you what? Come again?
I didn't answer. No.
There's a crooked
guy. So yeah, maybe these days, we can get him on. Yeah.
Well, does he have similar interests as to ourselves? Is he a broad-minded thinker?
Yeah. He's stuck on the bandana thing, kind of like I am. So there's a start.
Biker bandanas, huh?
Yeah.
A little bit, okay.
Well, right. Yeah. Minus the bikes.
Okay, so rather than getting into all the heavy stuff here, let's address the JC Easter business. We talked a little bit about the Shroud of Turin. I'm still not pronouncing that right, probably. Turin, Shroud of Turin. But and then we'll get into the meatier topics as far as current events, outside of the Shroud and Christ, Easter. Easter for me has always been, I don't know, back in not so much, and it is, I should say, I will say, it's Saturn returning. I'm right in that time, that zone, at the timeline for me in my life experience here. Every 27 and a half years, have you heard about that, Sonia? Saturn returning? You're into astrology and horoscopes and things like that, right?
7.5 years.
27 and a half.
27.
Yeah. 27. Something to that. You look it up. Just type in Saturn returning. So the theory, there's that crook out of Boston, CCP mayor, son of a beep. How much did she get? Oh, hang on. I'm. Why is that going redding out into the red line by my mic there? But anyways, yeah, she was heavily on the take. I guess she got busted big time, and get her out of not just office, but out of the country. Go back to China, lady. You wanna. Jeez. I mean, she'll be lucky if she doesn't end up in prison. But anyways, 27 and a half years with each of us. So the theory goes, Saturn returning, that we find ourselves in a time of transition, not just crisis necessarily, but a great opportunity for transformation and growth, like leveling up, so. And yeah, my first Saturn returning, and it was thanks to a friend, this older girlfriend, more like kind of like a mother, aunt, bigger sister type figure. She was heavily into Tibetan Buddhism, like heavily. And who are those two smiley characters, Sonia? Check that out. I'm not sure if you're watching that.
Oh, yeah.
You see that?
Yeah, Frank out today. He moved in with his girlfriend.
You kicked him out, did you?
No, my daughter did, kind of. But he moved in with his girlfriend. He's really happy.
How long has he had this girlfriend?
Not that long, maybe a couple of weeks. They seem to get along really well down. We're happy, so good for him. That's what I say.
Good for everybody, Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if he's happy, if they're happy, you know what? The whole world, the universe is happy. Seriously. Oh, who's that? What's that? Captain who? Cap and his butt pirates. What is? Oh, hey, who put that up there, man? What the hell? Did you see that? Somebody's prank. Is that DK or what?
Hello, Frisco.
Is it? Yeah. No. Angel. What the hell did I forget? He's just Angel can get so easily triggered. And speaking of butt pirate and butt hurt more than anything, so he's poor Angel's never wrong. You know, he's one of these people who's never wrong, and that's unfortunate because kind of like Trump actually. I mean, Vinny, does Trump ever admit any faults or the fact that, oh yeah, I guess, we need to revise this, or initially maybe we didn't take the best or right approach, or things have changed, right? As they do.
Well,
life changes and the world changes. So go ahead.
Listen,
This is a funny meme. Check this out. We choose to offend pirates and music, not because it's easy, but because it's fun. I love that one.
Because it's fun. Now that leads into the whole thing, guys. Okay, there are 7 deadly sins. Okay, there are 7 deadly sins, and each one of us, every man and woman on this planet, are subject to one of those sins. And Trump's sin is pride, clearly.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. With a little greed thrown in, possibly, but not really, because he's not the greedy type. If
you don't think so?
If you were the greedy type, Jaffe, he would not have let his casinos be bankrupted the way they were by the mob behind the scenes. That's what happened. Don't you think that his casinos should just be going wild to this day?
Do you think it was the mob that was responsible for that?
This is what they do. They bust these things behind the scenes.
See, I haven't followed his life and his business career and investments on that, from that angle. So, but who knows? Maybe he had. I'm playing devil's advocate here, but maybe he had a hand in that. He is a master of bankruptcy laws. Apparently, he knows his way around that.
Well, once you get bankrupted, Jeff, you start to learn what they do to you.
Yeah.
Right? They don't get to do it the same way twice.
Well, I'll tell. And which mafia are we talking? Chinese, Russian, Italian, Irish.
In the beginning, Jewish, Russian mafia, right? But now it's the old homosexual banking mafia.
Well,
the guys he control in the 13 families.
He does business with everybody. That's the thing, right? As president, you have to be in. You're going to be like 1 or 2 degrees of bacon, separate from some of the worst people on the face of the planet at times, right? Just because of the way the world is. So.
Yeah. Well, remember that interview with remember that John Rich piece I told you about, where he told you about that he told Trump about what people think about the pandemic. He gets booed every time he mentions he's the father of the vaccine and all that crap.
Let's hear that one. Yeah, let's hear that again. I looked into that, and then you know what? It was serendipitous, but it was also the kind of weekly news cycle. Robert actually bounced that one off of me, and I was like, aha, Vinny, you were on top of that right off the bat, but it was kind of making the rounds too, right? So let's hear that again. How did that all play out then with this country singer John Rich talking to Trump?
So John Rich he's on a podcast, and I wish I had the name for you guys and the timestamp of the full video and the date. Wasn't
it Tucker Carlson?
No. It was a different podcast, a country podcast, I believe, a famous one, but not famous enough for me to pull up at the moment. But he's discussing with the guys. He's in a room with Trump and a bunch of other people, Lindsey Graham included.
Oh, God.
Right? This is important for the thumbnail I use. And he's telling Trump about Trump asks him why he gets booed every time he mentions he's the father of the vaccine. Yeah. And John Rich tells him why. And then Lindsey Graham tries to interrupt him with the old QAnon conspiracy. This is what they're going to do to you. And
yeah, don't listen to him, Mr. President. They're poisoning your mind with baseless conspiracies.
You got it just about quote for quote.
Yeah.
And he shushes him, and then continues and tells him. So from that point, guys, Trump knows. Now, did he not know in the first place? That's neither here nor there at this point. But now at this point, he knows. No, everyone knows that the shot was dangerous and no one should have taken the bloody thing in the first place.
Yeah.
Right. And he was telling.
Well, and he allowed people the freedom to choose. Let's not forget. Whereas Biden, and that's the thing. I predicted it as much from the get-go. You can see it's like, we're in dangerous territory we're entering into here. If old Grandpa, Corn Pops Biden, rubbing those little kids.
What I do?
Yeah. So because you could see the way he was lining up and how they would be in the worst case scenario implementing their policies, and but anyways, so let's just to finish the thought then, John Rich on the podcast, what Trump, he's sharing a story that he had where he had spoken with Trump earlier, and the president had asked him, why are people booing me when I tell them that I take credit as being the founder of the father of these kill shots, right. So right. and then John Rich said it's because they've had a terrible impact in damaging, killing so many people.
Right. And then people in the room started speaking up about those experiences, which apparently up to that point he hadn't heard.
Oh, come on.
Which is amazing to me.
Is that believable or not? So
I tend not to really believe it, but at this point we're just going to go with it because
for the sake of what's it called? Plausible deniability.
Think of the hate these idiots on the other side want to make.
Willing suspension of disbelief. But they are, but I'll tell you what, with all the yes men, because you got the president's leaders, they're surrounded endlessly by yes men and women, right?
That's the problem. Yeah.
So, and a real friend, they will tell you when there's a problem. They won't. Yeah,
the problem is that they get them isolated in a room with a bunch of yes men, and the yes men won't say what the truth is.
Right.
And you get cornered.
All right. So, okay. Did anyone see much happening there? I mean, let's bring the comment end of things up on screen here. Well, or not, but still, Sonia mostly in surveillance, going at it for the most. Having the highest exposure here and unleashing of thoughts, comments, stream of consciousness, and so forth. So good on you. But
guess what? Hey, Jeff, guess what I'm putting together? You ready for this? Yeah, if you want to get some fun stuff out there, Catherine Herridge. I don't know if you saw today. I believe it's up to 14 million people thus far have seen her report.
Mm-hmm.
Catherine Herridge of direct energy weapons deployed on U.S. soil. Proof. Documented report.
And who is Catherine? Who is Catherine Herridge?
Catherine Herridge, I believe, used to work for CBS. She was fired and has gone through a whole bunch of nonsense recently, but is coming back with this report.
Yeah. Zane, we will be discussing the JC thing here. We have actually, you just, I guess, dropped in a few moments ago, perhaps. So we've already referenced it a couple of times. Would be happy to get into it on a more
any direct point you want to address?
Myself? Well, I'd like to know what Zane in particular would care to
Yeah, same here.
discuss. But look, here's my take. Now, Vinny, I'm curious to know what your beliefs are, because as I, had alluded to earlier, there's such a wide spectrum of people in the world who self-identify as Christians, all sorts. It's not like there's just one type. And we even brought up the Druze, this small sect. I guess there are only 100,000 of them left in the world. And the concern for me, and probably you would think for them as well, not sure how they managed to this point, but since the 11th century, they've been inbreeding, kind of like the way, so not just the Druze, but the Jews do as well, right? That's a problem. Within the Jewish community, the Ashkenazis, as an example, not sure about the Sephardic ethnic group and community, as it were. But because of the extensive inbreeding, there's all sorts of health problems that arise. But Christ,
bad idea.
Come again?
Biophysically, it's a bad idea.
Well, you would think, huh? Yeah, right. But they've been doing it. The Druze, this is Druze, and they seem to be really cool people who do, once again, because you may have missed it the first time around, Zane, espouse. Not only do they embrace all the great prophets, they didn't talk too much about Buddha, unfortunately, or even Mani, who came along, and he was the de facto founder of what was known as Manichaeism, something that Saint Augustine, the Catholic Church, waged, even though he was himself a student and a member of the Manichaean community, an advocate, supporter, however you want to put it, that I guess, he engaged in this apostasy in a sense of jumping ship and joining the Catholic Church. That, yeah, he waged war on these people in the worst possible way. So the Druze espouse, they believe in reincarnation, which is something I didn't know of until just yesterday, watching this documentary regarding the Shroud of Turin with Robert Morningstar. And it was an amazing documentary where my belief that the Shroud is authentic, legitimate, it's the real deal, and it does date back to 2,000 years. It's from the Middle East. And yeah, guess what? The blood, the reason the people that were at the center of the documentary, the detectives, as it were, the CSI investigators, and they reached out, connected with the people in, I'm not sure where in Israel exactly, but they took DNA swabs, and I'm not sure to what percentage. Maybe that went over my head. I missed out on that. But they said, yeah, that Christ was himself. I mean, they are the descendants of whoever that man on the shroud was, assuming it was Christ. They are their descendants. So, and born again, you know how many times that was referenced in the New Testament? I think it's 34 or 35 times. And I don't think that he was talking the way that they've spun things over the years. Since when exactly? Maybe, I think it was a fifth or sixth ecumenical council. People talk about the Nicene Creed. That's something totally, the Nicene Council. I think that's the creed and the council, something entirely different as far as I'm circumcised. It was the fifth or sixth ecumenical council. Justinian was the emperor, and Theodora, this woman who initially she started out as a lowly, highly ambitious, as you can imagine. You can go so far as to say, well, like power hungry, but very, very cunning, very capable, and she wanted some people just the way some people are, right? So she slept her way to the top, basically. Not, however it is that women managed to do that, and succeeded in becoming the empress, wife of Justinian. And apparently it was her, first and primarily, who was responsible for really doing all she could to see that any remnants or trace of both reincarnation and karma, the term just means action, folks. Not for every action there's you reap what you sow. That's what the Bible says, right? It's not that complicated. You reap what you sow. For every action there's a reaction of equal yet opposite effect. It's one of the basic laws of motion, I guess, and laws of energy, that for every, or rather, energy is neither created nor destroyed, but rather simplifies itself, forever changing, transformed, hence reincarnation. So, and it's not, it's so, and like I said to Robert yesterday, like, we are living proof of the fact that we are born again. We have been born again. We're here now. If we hadn't been born again, I wouldn't be talking to you. No, yeah. Well, that's how it works. Or you with me and the rest of us here. That's right. So, um, anyways, but that Christ was a Buddhist. 18 missing years. Joseph of Arimathea, not a poor man. This was his uncle, people. Come on. Joseph of Arimathea was his uncle. He was a tin trader. And this is from scholars, the people in the know. He was a tin trader, international merchant, tin and copper, supposedly. And Britain was a destination. He was no stranger to the British Isles. He had the contacts established there, and he was actually a member of the Sanhedrin too. Joseph of Arimathea, Christ's uncle, the very Sanhedrin that is said to have decided to have put him to death. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Nicodemus was another, supposedly. So this is the same Nicodemus who, as memory serves, asked Christ about this business of reincarnation. If you look into it, just type in Nicodemus reincarnation, and you'll be sure to, I think, come up with some interesting results, seeing how is it that a man or people can be born of the same womb twice, essentially. Do you know that passage, Vinny? I think you've read the New Testament a time or two, so. But yeah, Christ in India, man. I mean, to me, it's quite obvious. The waters were muddied mostly by politics, is what it seems. So, but you got to look at things within the wider context of Greco-Buddhism. 900 years, folks. Look up, as anyone, take the time to look that up. 900 years of Greco-Buddhism. It's really quite amazing. The Silk Roads, obviously, and with Joseph of Arimathea being this international trader and traveler, that to think that Christ was just someone who spent the missing years and in one's isolated location, pounding nails and building houses, working as a carpenter. That's just silly. It's really just quite silly. And the fact that he was poor, Mary of Magdalene, or Mary Magdalene, actually Magdala. They have found a couple of, I thought it was two, maybe it's just one. I think it could prove to be two, though. But do you know that they have found two, well, at least one ancient synagogue where it is said, her name is like basically written. This is the synagogue of Mary of Magdala, essentially, and some really interesting ancient remnants of what her legacy and what she left behind. Even though ultimately the family is believed to have relocated to France, I guess, is how the story goes, Europe and beyond. So the trout itself, though, like, that is really quite something. And, there's so many great documentaries out there, of course. I'd like to know, though, the history. It first appeared, I think it was what, the 12th, well, 13th century? And how it was actually thought to have been smuggled out of the Middle East into Turkey. That's how the story goes. So, it's just, I mean, you talk about, can you think of a more, as far as holy religious relics are concerned, anything, just what we had here, it doesn't even come close, but it's something. We're locally, not too far from where I'm based at present, they found some secret, and this is the age of apocalypse too, folks, right? Hidden, unseen. I just heard something from the, as far as the Gnostics, looking at some messages coming our way via Telegram, but the Gnostics and I don't know. There's a lot with the apocalypse itself. That, as I've been saying for the longest time, that there might be a lot of chaos and tumult, upheaval involved in things, and we're living through a lot of that. Obviously, there's also a great deal of revelation and light, where things that have been covered up, occulted, hidden for quite some time are now being revealed. And the two main ways that I see that happening is through archaeology and archaeology and satellite imagery and technology. So I don't know if either of you have any further. I never finished the story of what was found locally. It was the sati, these, how would you describe, crystallized bones of the Buddha was what they were said to have been, that were hidden, along with some gold engraved Hanja, Chinese language hieroglyphics, telling a bit of a story of this not quite princess but noble woman, courtesan, lover of, I guess, the king. And history changed. They talk about history change as a result of what she left behind. They talk about how historic revisionism. We're always told, you hear that a lot. What are you, a historical revisionist? Historical revisionism? No, it's which is absurd, of course, because history should always be revisited. It requires, it demands, just like science. We need to keep going back, but we have these forces in the world who would rather we not do so. That we not go back and take a closer look, and to the point where we're challenging the authoritative views and theories, the paradigms that they have that they've erected, essentially, that they've, trying to get too excited, Sonia, that they've formed, they've put up, and expect us to I think I see her, yeah, little mischievous smile. That's good. That basically we're expected to subscribe to buy into views and theories regarding a whole host of matters. So, anything else going on, folks? Like, as far as Zane, I'll check the comments here, but what in particular he would like to talk about? But yeah, that's kind of cool. If even though these are holy relics of the remnants, these crystallized bones of the Buddha, because it's no comparison to the Shroud Turan. When people die, these monks, these very, supposedly very holy monks who have meditated for many years, contemplating enlightenment, I guess, non-duality, and so forth, compassion, love, supreme, uh, and beyond that. Things, they're cremated, and rainbows. They talk about the rainbow body. I'm not sure. I think Zane has he's got a much clearer sense of what that constitutes than what I do. But I once actually saw, I'll share a story regarding rainbows that people like. It was pretty trippy. I won't do that right now. Just remind me a little later on down the road. And it was bizarre, weird. I've never seen more rainbows in my life in one short kind of period of time. But when people die, these saints, that a lot of times, yeah, you'll find rainbows just manifest from out of the blue, I guess. Rainbow body, and the sadi, as they're known in Korean, the sadi, these little crystallized bone fragments.
Hey, Jeff.
Yeah.
Jeff.
Sure.
Out of the blue, what? Out of the blue ether, perhaps?
Oh, the rainbows?
Well, the manifestations, yeah.
Well, do you want me to tell you what happened?
Well, I mean, you can do that. I'm saying the saying itself, it's lending to something. Blue, right? It's a medium.
I get. Continue, please. Flesh that out a little more for us, if you would.
Okay, so the blue, right? They specified blue as a color.
Right.
Right. The blue, it's a part of the spectrum from which this dimension is accessible.
From which the what is accessible?
This it's a dimension. Something that we used to have access to, like the ether. We used to have access to the ether, right? And somehow we've been separated from that.
Okay.
I believe we're reclaiming that.
Oh, sure.
Itself,
yeah.
Out of the blue, lends to that somehow.
Right. Well, I guess, yeah, the expression, yeah, that's right. I mean, blue bloods. Don't forget that.
There's
too.
that too.
Yeah.
That's correct. Correct.
Let me just put that aside, which is a great point, and feel free to continue in elaborating or painting us more of a picture if you're so inclined. But Svetlana has dropped by here, so Svetlana, if you want to do a feature show this coming Friday, we could possibly manage that, yes, and whereby we'll happily work on connecting with you and making revisiting essentially what we put together a number of years ago, seeing how you're doing, getting a bit of an update from you via Alberta, Canada, assuming that you're still based out of Alberta. But it's interesting. Her and I actually share, we're common. She knows a lot of the geography and territory I'm familiar with in Western Canada, so I feel a certain kinship.
That's cool
with her in that sense. What do you say? That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah, definitely. So, let's see. Except for the Holocaust, we can't. Yeah, which Holocaust? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, don't get me started with the whole Holocaust nonsense, because that's obvious. Like, cui bono, folks. Cui bono. Israel. Hello. Hitler, de facto founder of Israel. Well played, Adolf. It's like the world Zionism, the World Zionist Congress and movement, was a very elitist type the common people at the time were not interested in having any part in what they were promoting. This is all courtesy of the Rothschilds, obviously. It's right out there. That I mean, you learn about this, and at least we did in high school history class. The Balfour Declaration. I don't think they didn't get too much into the Rothschilds, but yeah, the Balfour Declaration, most definitely. So, yeah, cui bono, man, cui bono. So,
Who
sure,
benefits?
that's
right.
well, yeah, totally. So,
That's how you solve 99% of crimes. You find out who benefits.
yeah, yeah. Well, hit us up through email, Svetlana. If we can connect through email, pirate1radio@protonmail.com. We'll be happy to oblige and put together a great show. I'm sure a lot of people out there listening will be happy to engage in and you know, get a little more up to speed once again on how things have been going via Canada. How if we do it this weekend, of course, let's not forget there's a snap election, I guess, that has been called that is coming up here in Canada quite shortly. And isn't it amazing? A couple of things. It's really unfortunate we don't have a real democracy in Canada. Maxime Bernier, why, Maxime Bernier is completely locked out of the process, shut out with no proportional representation at all, folks. We have single member plurality, first person past the post system in place. It's a scam. It's total nonsense. I mean, you could get more undemocratic, I suppose, but it's far from perfect. Justin Castro, as I recall, did talk about electoral reform. We could stand to reform our society in a few different areas, including financial, currency, banking, and the like. But electoral is one, most definitely. And he never delivered on his promise of electoral reform.
You didn't expect him to, did you?
No, hell no. Are you kidding? But he, what is it? Lucy and Charlie Brown. The cartoon, right?
No football, you got it. Oh yeah.
Every time it's like, no, this time, Charlie Brown, really, Charlie Brown, this time.
I'm getting home for football, Charlie.
No, seriously, yeah, no kid, yeah, come on, yeah. So, taking a brief look here at the wonderful array. This is not only kind of a sponsor to the show, I guess, Galactic Fire. We're looking for a little more, actually, Sonia, as far as
I know
audio. Maybe you could. In fact, you're pretty good at producing these little promo blurbs. Let's get something from you where you can maybe combine some of what we're looking at here, the photos, and I could do a voice, like an overdub. If you just
hey,
yeah,
sounds
and
cool.
I'll come up with the copy, I guess, or we can work together on the copy. The script essentially, and just to kind of plug and promote what we're offering here.
Fun.
Yeah. So there we go. And did you fix? There's one of the links down here that was not working. Is that right?
I remember, but it should all be fine as far as I can tell.
Twitter. Good luck accessing our Twitter over on Elon not so free speech Musk's platform. What a jerk, Oh, jeez. So, yeah, I mean, where haven't we been banned or suspended or shut down? It's brutal, folks. That's why we really do we depend on your help in getting word out and sharing the links, leaving comments, subscribing, hitting notification buttons. If you dig what we do, the old thumbs up, of course, really critical to fighting back against, pushing back against the technocrat and the way they've got this phony net neutrality nonsense that they pay lip service to. And the way they have it framed is completely fraudulent. It's just a joke, you know. So hopefully, I mean, I've talked about this in the past. Upload, download, you know, speeds and rates. Give me a break. It has nothing. That's secondary. I won't go so far as to say it has nothing to do with the way that, you know, if you think about net neutrality in its purest sense, ought to be. But that's secondary. First and foremost is laissez-faire, hands off. If you know, let people get their content out there, and stop interfering. You know, stop blocking people. Well, actually, that's the thing. If you don't like something you see, then you just you block them. Now, does that go so far as the platforms themselves? It should be among users, obviously. You know, you would think, as they do over in Minds. That's how they have their platform configured, essentially. So, really, this we could do a lot better in bringing about more optimal, you know, net neutrality as far as the interwebs are concerned. So what happens if people enter their email address here, Sonia? Are they able to they get on a newsletter or something? What's the deal?
Yeah, it's just a like
Sign up. Tattoos.
a
FAQ.
newsletter.
You get a
You know,
newsletter.
like when I put out new shirts.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Yep.
Good stuff. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Excellent. So, yeah, like thieves in the night. Robert, it was funny when we first bounced that off of him. He didn't like it that much because we're stealing from Jesus. It's like, well, we're not really stealing it. It just fits. It's appropriate because that's what we are. It's like, you know, we are like thieves in the night. Well, we're wink, wink,
yeah,
nudge, nudge. Come again?
Wink, wink, nudge. Jaffe.
What's that?
Nothing.
Finkelstein. What's this Finkelstein business here?
It's a recent podcast of DK's. Pretty sweet. Y'all should check it out.
Okay, is that where they're eating people?
Throws it out there.
The McDonald's, their feet, where people go when they get killed.
Throwing them.
How does that work? Is that Norman Finkelstein that's anti-Israel, or does Finkelstein, this braggart, who's the psychopath guy, right? Yeah, what a awful piece of, you know, and that's all Sabbatean. That's directly the result of Sabotage Zevi. So, which you know, Vinny knows a great deal about, obviously. So, and you can comment on that if you're so inclined. I mean, it's a synagogue of Satan. You want to hear a little bit about Christ? Well, hey, synagogue of Satan, which is, I think, something that he talked about. He was no fan of the synagogue of Satan. They're the ones who put him to death. They say, oh, well, the Romans did. Well, technically, I guess they did, but it wasn't the Jews who wanted Christ dead.
In service of, right? They didn't do it on their own volition.
Who? The Romans?
Right.
Just following orders. Pilate gave the order, and then he washed his hands. But it was not. Let me make this clear. It was not the Jews. I refuse to. That's just nonsense. Some people do. They're that stupid and ignorant. They blame the Jews. Ridiculous. It was the Sanhedrin, people. The Sanhedrin. Take a closer look. It was this elite council. I think they're self-appointed, you know, sort of.
There was some collusion going on behind the scenes, and the collusion works best when you can hide it in a population. It's just how it works.
When you get what in a population?
You can hide the collusion within a population and say that the collusion doesn't exist.
Are you talking about passing the buck and trying to say, oh, it wasn't us, or
the old bait and switch, right? The first trick I learned at the age of 8.
Right.
You know, it's name stealing, we can go on the various techniques used
All right.
to swindle people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. Oh, for sure. Here's the thing, though. Why do we choose to offend pirates with memes? Not because it is easy, but because it is fun. Boston clam chowder.
Yeah.
But now, did they vote? Like, there must have been a vote to have him crucified, and he was not the first person ever crucified. A lot of people are kind of hung up on that one. They think, oh, he's the only person ever crucified. No, it was a common way of putting people to death. The Romans loved the technique.
Well, remember, they chose Barabbas over Jesus.
The thief? Which, there's two thieves, right?
Well, there was Barabbas, right? And they put him against Jesus, and they said, who do you choose to put to death? And he chose Barabbas to live.
They set him free?
They set him free.
What about, but he was crucified between two thieves, correct? Or did they let one of the thieves down? Whatever the case, here's what I want to know. Because Joseph of Arimathea, Christ's uncle, and Nicodemus were two of the members of the Sanhedrin. I don't know how many members of the Sanhedrin there were either, but like Nicodemus seemed to be on, well, he was curious, he was inquisitive, wanting to know about this reincarnation business, right? Asking Christ about how is it that one can be born of the same womb twice, I think is how it comes out in modern day English. We need to get back to the Aramaic, though, folks, and Koine Greek. I talked to so many people about this, when the conversation, the course of conversation where it comes up as a talking point, and maybe my adult students here sometimes in Korea. It's always fun to bounce this sort of material off of them, because there's a few Christians within their midst, Catholics, and they think that Koreans also have a belief that Catholics are not Christians. It's like, are you Christian? It's like no. Are they Christian? No, they're Catholic, is what they say. So things like that. It's like a bit of a head scratcher. But Koine Greek and Aramaic, and let's not forget that those are the two main languages we often hear about from the likes of Bart Ehrman, and most I'm pretty sure within the academic community, as far as, because Koine was the English vernacular of its day throughout the near, like, Asia Minor, the Near East, the Eastern Mediterranean. So, it was something that was very useful in, from on an international basis, from all the way from ancient Palestine and both East and West. Presumably, how far? I don't know. Syria, Egypt, the UK, and all various points beyond. But how about that Alexandria, Egypt, and the libraries of Alexandria? My God, can you think of a greater crime ever committed, against humanity? And also, and had me thinking earlier today about the secret Vatican archives, the passing of the Pope, the secret Vatican archives. Will there be another Pope? Apparently, prophecy says no, but Robert Morningstar thinks that there will be very shortly. And also, what's going on underneath the is it the coffre?
Yeah.
The coffre or Joffre? Joffre pyramid.
2 kilometers beneath, they found machineries, ancient machinery.
They're following that. the world is paying pretty close attention. And they keep it now. It's like the shroud, right? It's like the more that they look, the more it seems that this is the real deal, versus concluding that it's not, that it's a forgery. So you're right,
Well,
though, Vinny. Yeah.
The more the pity is the reasons behind all these things being buried, right? Just to keep them away from us.
Occulted history. It's all been hidden, and this is the apocalypse, man. It's all meant to be, because it's just the timeline that we're on. Revelations uncovering.
Indeed.
Been hidden to now. So, and if you think about it, it's interesting. 2025. It's like, well, the 20, 4 times 5, and then 25, 5 times 5. May 5th. Where's it going to be on the calendar, anyways? May 5th. Because that's 5-5. Lots of 5s there. I have no idea. It's just interesting to kind of note, reflect upon. But hope everybody's doing well. This is, of course, show segment 315 of World Pirate Radio News with your trusted host and companion, Robin, his Chief Communications Officer, Jaffe Ryder. We've got Sonia Galactic via Phoenix, Arizona, hometown of the one and only great rock and roll legend Alice Cooper, among other things, and Vinny from Brooklyn. So I have no idea who's going to show up or maybe make their way on out the door when we return from commercial break. But before we do queue up the promotional content that we have in store for folks here, Sonia and Vinny, is there anything that you'd like to just address or touch upon? Now, the one thing I would like to say is take a look during the commercial break. Be sure to take a look at the talking points that we have that we shared with you here in the group conversation. Also, I should turn on my camera, I suppose, after the break. So don't let me forget. We've got Telegram going. Everything's looking good. More comments coming our way. We've taken a look at the great swag that Sonia has helped to produce and get online for us over there via galacticfire.com. Is there anything from either of you folks that you think we should just briefly touch upon, or that you would like to follow up on, or explore when we return here in just a few minutes?
How's this, Jaffe? I got breaking news. Evacuations are in progress after a massive wildfire erupted in Ocean County, New Jersey, an hour ago.
Wow.
Wonder where Chris is. Hope he's doing okay. Hope he's nowhere near there at this point. Via his, you've been following him and his trek along the East Coast of.
What's he doing? Looking for a new Krispy Kreme to haunt?
He's biking. Actually, he's
biking.
He's cycling. He's trying to do like the East Coast Trail, essentially. Just a very kind of eco sort of approach, consciousness raising. Self-discovery, I think, is part of it, but also breast cancer awareness, because of few people that have, in his family, women primarily. Men can get breast cancer too. This is how the story goes. So, but yeah,
well, men can do everything a woman can do. So yeah, there we go.
You think so? Well, women can. I defy any woman to contract prostate cancer.
Oh boy!
But hang on. Oh, wouldn't that be something?
Excuse me, it's ma'am.
Yeah. What if they've transitioned? Is it possible for a guy who's transitioned? Do you have that cut out when you have the bottom surgery taken care of? Is the prostate removed as well? What are we looking at there, Doc? So I have no idea. It is what it is. But yeah, and that's another thing. Speaking of reincarnation, that's my theory. Good luck proving it. But that so many people, when they're born into this world and they're attracted to members of the same sex, it's, I believe, could be wrong, but I believe it may have something to do with past lives and the fact that they just have maintained this, I guess you'd say, what, affinity as far as their identification of a female, and in this life been born as a man, and things go kind of weird, and vice versa, where you were a man on multiple occasions in the past, and you just, it's like anima animus, as Jung talked about. Things are a little out of balance, unfortunately. So, but I really do think, yeah, like one of the goals in this life is to uh, uh, self-realization, a sense of individuation. Yoga really meaning simply union with God. Christ talked about that himself. Gotta keep coming back to good old, Yeshua. His name was not Jesus, apparently. It was something a little bit different, like Yeshua.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you know what was his name? What do you think?
Yeshua.
I guess. Yeah. Doesn't it mean, Vinny, doesn't it mean one who saves?
It's the breath of life.
Yeshua, doesn't it mean one who saves?
I guess that's a translation.
I thought
I'm
it
saying
was. And
if you take an actual breath, you're actually making the sounds Yash, Shua.
Yeah, and it's interesting because one who saves, very much like the Bodhisattva. There's so many examples, like out of Buddhism. That's exactly what they do. They're helpers, basically. They're helpers both in this material realm and beyond. Speaking of which, I'd like to learn a little bit more about the astral realm. I don't know much about that at all. I
I can tell you
guess.
a little bit about that.
Yeah, I know. So that's maybe one thing that we can get into.
Sure.
What did Christ say? My father's mansion there are many rooms in my father's mansion. Something to that effect. And this whole business of NDEs, folks, I mean, come on. There's no excuse. Like, look into it. It's really quite something. Near death experiences. I don't know if you could go so far as to say preaching, but just.
No, you're interested. There's nothing wrong with that. I have on the recent feed on Twitter once again. There's a guy who survived 4 NDEs.
Really? Flatlining.
Very interesting to say. Yeah.
Huh. Yeah. Amazing. So, what's his name?
I didn't get his name. Yeah, it's one of those.
I hope
They
it's.
just things.
Hope it's not Dannion Brinkley. It's a little bit. He's like a Dannion near death experience fishing story Brinkley. You know how
Yeah.
every time someone, like, with their story, it just keeps getting bigger and bigger, more and more elaborate, and just it takes on a whole life of its own, right? It's like, so yeah. But there's some really great YouTube channels, people providing their personal testimonies, and check it out, folks. It's quite something. But anyways, okay, we're gonna cut away to commercial break, and as always, of course, remind folks that well, Red Dragon Herbs and Teas, obviously one of the 2 sponsors that we have on board here, along with the CannaSense Cannabis Collective. At Red Dragon Herbs and Teas, with any order of $25 or more, you will immediately receive a 10% discount. All you simply have to do is let Ryan know one of 2 things: either simply Pirate Radio or Pirate Code. That's the way you go about unlocking that great little savings. And as far as the CannaSense Cannabis Collective is concerned, 5813 is our referral link. That's what you'll want to share with them, of course. And both have a very extensive, colorful, and high quality, catalog, essentially, and host of items that are available, very health conscious, and hopefully just the sort of thing that people such as yourselves are looking for. We will be back here in just a few brief moments, folks. Don't touch that radio dial or computer mouse.
Medical cannabis is now legal by telemedicine. Get the medicine you need by getting reviewed for a medical cannabis card. Contactless appointments available at CannaSense.com. For as low as $39, you can get reviewed for a medical cannabis card. That's CannaSense.com for a licensed medical cannabis doctor review. CannaSense.com has all the information you need to get connected with a doctor for a $39 medical cannabis appointment. CannaSense.com. CannaSense is common sense.
Catering exclusively to the Des Moines, Iowa area and beyond, Red Dragon Herbs and Teas is a small, family-owned business dedicated to the creation of only the finest quality artisan herbal tea blends. Drawing upon many of the world's most richly established customs and traditions, Red Dragon Herb's mission is about more than just getting their products out to the market. They also strive to help educate their customers on the wider benefits, history, and folklore of all their plants. Of course, any seasoned pirate knows when they're fixin' to tango with the Kraken, you best be powered up with at least one of the finest select quality premium items freely offered via Red Dragon Herbs and Teas wide inventory. Choosing from any of their caffeine-free headache relief or rest and relaxation blends, history has proven their products among the best sources of scurvy prevention and vitamin supplementation. Red Dragon Herbs and Teas, bringing you guaranteed homegrown health relief.
Red Dragon Herbs and Teas, bringing you guaranteed homegrown health relief. Welcome back, folks. This is, of course, the back end of things, the second half of this week's live streaming World Pirate Radio News show segment number 315. I myself, your host, as always, the Robin Hood's Chief Communications Officer, Jaffe Ryder. We've got Sonia Galactic and Vinny from Brooklyn here on board, helping out in the co-host capacity. Always appreciated. Something else that's always appreciated, of course, are PayPal donations and support that people offer. Think of it as buying us a coffee, or I do a lot of, I've been spending a little more time out on the streets of South Korea busking, playing a little music, a couple hours in each and every time, head out to the streets, find myself doing reasonably well. It's a similar kind of deal here, I guess. It's like, live streaming and busking, you could look at in a parallel sense, of course. So we're doing all we can to offer, quality information, conversation, a little bit of insight, entertainment, spiritual support, enlightenment, you name it, frankly. So hopefully something that you'll find to be of some value, and you'll ultimately reciprocate in kind as far as helping us out here to keep the show on the road. Really critical stuff with the PayPal, Pirate One Radio at protonmail.com, or, things like Patreon, the galactifire.com and beyond. We have a Teespring presence as well. There's digital support that people can offer through BitChute, Odyssey, minds.com, of course. Got to give, speaking of which, a shout out to Bob Dub, who, she's one of the few people actually who does take the time and makes the effort in supporting us on that front. So, really, really appreciate what she does for us via minds.com with the digital love that she offers. Robert Morningstar's helped out a little bit in the PayPal capacity. A few others have as well, some anonymous donors. But just do what you can, folks. Liking, commenting, sharing, that's really much appreciated as well. Passing word on to friends, family, coworkers, and doing what you can to keep the algorithms aware that we're out here and that we're producing content on a semi-regular basis with subscribing, hitting notification buttons, checking to see that notification buttons remain on. How many times have we done that where we've subscribed and hit notification buttons only to go back later to whatever channel it was that we were supporting and discover that YouTube has or other places, but YouTube seems to be the main offender. They've taken on a life of their own and decided that you didn't subscribe or that you didn't hit the notification buttons when you most certainly know that you did. So, all right. I'm just going to take a quick look at the comment end of things here, see what we've got as far as updates are concerned. I'll try to contact you, Svetlana, if you're still out there, via Minds. She says she didn't get our email, and that's one way of doing it. Yeah, they have Element as well too. We should add that to the link, or rather to the conversation, the peanut gallery, as it were. Have either of you checked out Element through? This is, I guess it's my Matrix Element. Yeah, you looked into that a little bit. All right, cool. What's your handle? The Sonya Galactic?
I think so.
Okay. It's a little.
T-shirt.
Yeah. How was the sign up process? Was it difficult, complicated? It was not too tough.
Pretty easy.
Yeah. Good. Good. So just like what? An email address. Username and password.
Yeah.
All right, cool. And you've actually, I'm not sure if you want to talk about it in too much detail, but you're also working on things here a little bit behind the scenes, coming up with some new template type content and ideas as far as the main website, WPRPN.com is concerned.
It's pretty good so far. I mean, it's moving along. I haven't worked on it for like a week though. But soon.
All right.
Yeah, but soon. Pretty exciting.
All right. Yeah, it was looking good, what you were showing us there. So.
Pirate.
Yeah. No, I think there's some good things coming our way here. Pardon me. So, what's?
Get your ship, Join the crew, kind of thing.
Right.
Pretty sweet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. It's interesting. Over on Matrix, I thought we had created both a WPRPN and a Pirate Radio podcast. Is it a space or a room or whatever the case? They've both gone by the wayside. It is what it looks like now. So let's see if. There we go. There's something.
Sometimes hard to find stuff. Or Element, I think. but there you go.
Yeah, it's a bit of a learning curve. So this is just connecting with the other main account, but we've got, like I said, like as we had, see, because they were running this through mines initially, and then it became too costly, I guess, for them to do that. The Ottman clan, and I'm not sure how this is functioning at present, or if it's just on its own accord or what exactly. Just it's a great. It seems to be a decent resource, so in a decent community where anyone can pretty much launch their own. I'll bring it up on screen here. Let people take a look at it, actually. Try and navigate a little bit around. So this is Jaffe trying to connect, just a private conversation with WPRPN, and we shared the link to today's show there. But we got Tan out of Toronto, Mr. Robot, Rhea, we haven't got to know too well. Roger Hansen's over there. Let's click on his link, see what's shaking with Roger. So, but this is a bit of a dialogue conversation between. I think we put a link in there. They're quite active and back and forth as far as the. Oh, geez, look at that. We put that up there just last night, and they really went at it for sure. So, in a big way, definitely. But yeah, element.io is what people will want to, if they're so inclined, drop by, take a look at. Hey, Tron, speak of the devil. Toronto. T-Tron out of Toronto. He's kind of a new. Do you know? Have you talked to him?
Yeah, on the Minds Weekend.
Oh, cool. He's saying that
hilarious.
Jesus equals God saves. Okay, so, but that's kind of Greek too, right? And his name, I don't think was Jesus. It was Yeshua, which means, what is it? We were talking earlier. Is it one who saves? It was a very common name, right? So, and this God-man thing too. It's like so many people, they think, oh, well, he's the first person. And did he call himself God or not? Because
I don't think so.
No, he didn't. No, I don't think he did either.
But
I
wasn't there really.
But he, well, no. That came out at, I think that was a Nicene Creed, the Council of Nicaea. That's, in case you missed it earlier, Tron, we talked about the Fifth Ecumenical Council. I think it was the fifth or sixth, with respect to reincarnation and karma, is kind of how the story goes. And that was, gosh, that was like, well, when was Justinian? Emperor Justinian, look him up, folks. Very interesting, fascinating historic character, and his wife, more, very colorful, to say the least. But I think she's quite ruthless as well. Not a very nice person at all. Her originated as like a lowly type circus performer and prostitute, basically. So similar to what the president of Korea former president of Korea, Yoon, had at his side. His wife, it's speculated she was heavily tied into the whole sex industry machine via South Korea, and I think most of us know where that goes as far as organized crime.
This is Justinian the First, the Byzantine emperor.
Yeah, I believe so. And Theodora, that's correct. Yeah, look, it's fascinating. I mean, there's some great, once again, documentaries and things along those lines via YouTube and elsewhere. So archive.org. Let's not forget about good old archive.org. This is our value-added content as well, too, folks, in case you're wondering. So if there was a reason to support us in some way, with whatever you find to be within your means, this would be it. But yeah, what are your thoughts there, Vinny? What are you seeing?
I just looked up the time period. Was that 482 to 565 BC?
Look at this. So that's the mid 6th century then, is that right?
Right.
Right. And look up the 5th or 6th ecumenical council. And ecumenical, I do believe, is like you have all these various sects, okay? And isn't it interesting? 2 words. Is it sex or sex? What are you doing? You having sex? You making sex? You got sex? We do. What are you sex crazy? It's like so sex. Yeah, having some new
Wow.
sex. So, but you understand how that's.
You just any
Pardon me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Jesus, get your mind out of the
I was just
gutter. Yeah, but it's interesting the way it's spelled. SEX, like bang bang.
Oh
Let's
my.
get naked. Yes, and or you have sex as an SECTS, and the way that I mean, they're all sleeping. They're the inbreeding that takes place within those respective communities, whatever sect you happen to find yourself. So, but anyways, I think it's just one of those things. So, let's see. So what? Just double digits on Rumble for almost the whole show. I think DK is referring to his what he streamed earlier, Rabbi Finkelstein. Yeah, cool. So I'm just trying to pick up on the rest of the conversation here, but I think. Okay, so let's go down to what Zane is talking about here. What's the next big celebration on Christian calendar? Pentecost. I don't even know how that works. Although I will tell you, my dad, sent us little kids. We were about we were no more than 7 or 8, 6, 7, 8. To Sunday school. Our family, our parents were going through some tough times, cheating, drinking. Too much friction and problems on the home front, unfortunately. Just a lot of, I wasn't, we're everything scars us or makes its impression and imprint on our psyche, either in a positive or, I guess, negative, neutral way. We everything is something that we can potentially work with, whatever it is, right? We can transform everything. If it's a seemingly negative occurrence, we can work with that. Let's not kid ourselves. And that's a great thing. If people have that sort of ability to see that, then all the power to them. So, but that's when we first started going to Sunday school, just for a couple of years, and it was Pentecostal. And I will tell you that Bible camp was up until the last day was pretty good, but it was that final day that really, where they kind of forced you to step forward, they really. I didn't know that was on, that was in the cards. Essentially, it was on the table where you had to step forward, and I think it was like confess your sins. You're such a bad little child, and give your life to Christ. Where I didn't quite understand what it all meant at the time. I just thought it was too much, and I wasn't prepared for it. And I've shared the story in the past, but yeah, I was the last person in line because I was just not too eager to do so. And come here, Danny. Come here, Danny. Confess your sins, kitty. You are a sinful little creature, and you're noisy, and you're going to.
The pipes are calling.
You're going to kitty hell. Come here, sit with me, little peckerhead. So I was in tears, though. I was in tears, as you might expect. A lot of kids would be. So because I was just confused. I felt pressured, and I was just not the time to do it. So it was really annoying. It was terrible. It was traumatic, so that stayed with me. I still dug Christ, right? Like I thought Christ was pretty cool, but just, it was kind of just the way they went about doing things. It was not as skillful as it could have been, that they just, the method and approach was just too much. So
it was a tradition. Yeah.
It was terrible. I guess it was kind of like or fire and brimstone, the Pentecost sect and denomination. Where they have the roots exactly, I have no idea. But this is the same Pentecost church we attended where the pastor, leading his parishioners and flock, came out to the firing range with my father and I, and we're doing a little target practice, and this wonderful guy, or maybe not so wonderful guy, I guess he didn't shoot anybody, but he took a pot shot at this little whiskey jack, this bird, and he just blew the bird completely to bits, annihilated the little whiskey jack that was there. Had to do a little target practice, and the bird wasn't any more than, oh gosh, I don't know, not even like maybe not even 100 feet away from us. And even my dad he didn't really let on at the time, but he was shocked and couldn't believe that this man would do such a thing. So you'd think that he would be more. Well, wasn't Christ all about love and compassion? Even for little whiskey jacks, presumably, right? So, but anyways, do no harm. So, but the one criticism I do have regarding the teachings of Christ, it's once again too muddied and not so much as obscured because of the politics, I do believe. But going back to this business of, did he say that he was God? No, I don't think he did. Although he did say, I and the Father am one. Now, what does that mean exactly?
And Trent says that he referred to himself as the I am.
Well,
Right.
well,
The great I am.
well, then you know what? Guess what? So is everybody else. And that's the whole point. I and the Father are one. Guess what, folks? So are you. You're not disconnected or removed as much as the clerical, and that's why they crucified him. He was committing blasphemy, so they said. But
Yep.
I don't think he was really trying to say that. I do I think I'm going to hell because of that? Not really.
Yep.
I don't think so. You don't go to. Do people go to hell for thought crime? Really? Really?
Not yet.
If they
Well, some people.
have a problem with their thoughts, they probably do.
What's that?
Right?
What?
They
Come
have
again?
a problem with their thoughts, they probably do.
Well,
They can't get their thoughts in order.
Right.
They do have some sort of help.
Right. Well, he's demanding. He's demanding attention. But
Keep him on camera, Jeffy.
I guess. Oh no, he'll whine and complain even more. So I'll get myself on camera here shortly. He wants me to. He does. How some cats are. He's the number one kitty, demanding attention, affection, everything, always, or else.
Yeah.
Trust me, you're gonna hear.
He's
He's our little peg leg. He's our little peg leg, Vinny, just like you poor.
just like me.
How are you doing, by the way? With you lost like half a leg because of some unknown, or maybe not so. Have you figured out why it was that? And did the doctor act appropriately, or was it not completely unnecessary?
No, doctor. He did what he needed to do. He did a fair job. I haven't had any complications from it thus.
It's incredible.
It's a little getting used to.
Yeah.
You run around all the time, and now no more running.
Son of a bitch.
Right.
Well, did you hear about that, Sonia? Did you know he lost half of his leg, right?
No, not till just right now. Wow.
So what Vinny,
Crazy.
fill people in then. I'm sure the wider listeners, including the folks that check this out via the archived end of things, not only on our channels, BitChute, Rumble, Odyssey, YouTube, unless they take it down, of course, which they're all too apt to do, bastards, big red machine. And trust me, folks, their YouTube is red for a reason. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And Fakebook as well, too. But GMNO over on BitChute, your channel over there, or sorry, I mean it's Canst. Children are not sex toys. Is you anytime you appear on one of our shows, you archive things over there, which we cannot say enough good things about. We thank you so much. Tell us more about, if you would, because this may, and it may, this is one of those things where it may help to benefit others if they can find themselves in a similar predicament. How did this all come about?
Well, let me start with the ending. Anyone who's having any issues with your feet, keep drinking. Okay, so
beer or water?
Whatever you drink.
Now, is this the doctor told you this, or?
No, this is from Vinny.
Okay, and we say that with just a general disclaimer, just a reminder that the views in it. Well, we're not here to offer any formal health, medical, or financial advice. Strictly entertainment and educational purposes. You can read between the lines there, folks. But yeah. Okay.
If I hadn't lost half a leg, I would say you can go ahead and I would completely vouch for any medical advice I've given, but due to that, no, anything I say you can trust to a certain point, but verify. So nonetheless, I'm Frankenfoot. I started my internet career as Frankenfoot, as I had an incident with my other foot, which required the loss of 2 bones from it. And so for about 10 years, I nurtured the foot until I got the holes to close and everything was fine. But somehow the problem replicated to the other foot, which didn't have an issue. And I guess I took it for granted. And one summer, not too long ago, the dice rolled and I rolled snake eyes and bang. And 3 weeks later, we went to chop off the leg. And I survived it. And ever since I've been getting along with it.
What were you diagnosed with exactly?
I wasn't. That's the whole thing. The other foot didn't have a problem at all. It's just that I was given hydrogel, and hydrogel is a nanomaterial. Apparently, it went into the other foot and replicated the situation I had in the original, in the first foot, for no reason whatsoever.
It jumped from the first foot where it had been administered to help solve a problem, and led to you.
It led to replicating the same problem in the other foot, which didn't have any problem at all.
That is so wrong. That something really stinks, Something really stinks.
Yeah. And I almost survived it. I was very close, 10 years taking care of it, and then, it's just how easy it goes. I mean, I could have crossed the street and gotten hit by a car, and the same thing could have happened. Mm-hmm. So,
have you heard of other cases where this is replicated itself?
No, but I expect to hear some more. I expect to hear them coming, with everything that's coming out. You see, I posted in the chat there. I posted the piece. It was I think a hearing with Steve Kirsch, who got involved in this whole COVID thing, and once again he's discussing how the Amish have no instances whatsoever of autism.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Not a single one. Now, why is that?
Right.
It's because the Amish do not take pharmaceuticals for any reason whatsoever.
No kill shots. No of whatever type. That's, I guess, yeah, that's how the story goes. So something that RFK Jr. is presumably more than aware of as well, the Amish situation.
I'm hoping he sees some of my work, all right? Because once again, I got the COVID thing right in the beginning, and I got this right. This is 3.5 years ago. I wrote
Steve Kirsch.
Steve Kirsch, yeah. He also spoke about the pilots being the VAX pilots dropping planes out of the sky. Right, but I beat them to that too. But that's
you're talking about pilots that had taken the kill shots that were dying from like sudden adult death syndrome, just immediately, like heart attack, stroke, what have you. That's it, lights out.
Wow.
Yes,
just like that, right? And you've seen them rotate and die. So imagine that in the cockpit of an airliner with a couple hundred people flying behind them, right? Which is what they say.
They've had co-pilots take over though, right?
We've had co-pilots. Remember, they've been trying to get it so that there's only one pilot on board.
Whoa! Cutbacks. Gotta cutbacks. Gotta cost.
Right, cutbacks. Imagine, see, once again, this is profits over people. There's no way if you were doing the opposite. If you were thinking people over profits, would you have less than 2 pilots in the plane cockpit?
That's just crazy, man. Oh my God. Oh jeez. All right. Well, have either of you had the chance to open up the talking points? We've got maybe another 45 minutes or so.
I want to mention Susan Rice because I'm not sure if I didn't get all the way through. I got most of the way through. But can you believe Susan Rice is still in office?
Who? No, the name rings a bell. She's some high-level bureaucrat inside.
She's a former ambassador under Bush, and she's still in office currently. If I look at Twitter,
in what formal capacity?
One ambassadorship she had, I don't recall necessarily. To one of our foreign entanglements. One of our foreign entanglements.
So there were traditionally 71 members of the Sanhedrin. Got to get that out there, just because Zane has shared that information with us. Something else that I'm aware of, so the story goes, is that, do you know that they went defunct? Like they were disbanded for a long time, the Sanhedrin. Well over 1,000 years probably, but get this. They were reformed right around the turn of the millennia. Do you understand?
I got it. Susan Rice is the defense is on the Defense Policy Board at the Department of Defense.
Private public partnerships, revolving door. Private public partnerships, revolving door. We're in, we're out, we're in, we're out. It's like, oh God, yeah. Head of the FDA, former reigning top CEO of Pfizer, blah blah blah. So is that something? Yeah. So thank God, things. We'll see what RFK Jr. would impact. He has on where things go on the health front if America really does become a healthier country and people as a whole. So
the cell phone ban might help with that, but I think it's going to be a hard sell, right?
Okay, let's hear it. So no cell phones in schools, is that right?
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Tran here asking, we couldn't connect. Skype is gone. Anyhow, too late now. Maybe next time. Yeah, well, you've got kind of a funky Skype setup. Anyways, we're going to be doing, I guess, this Teams thing and God only knows what. I mean, if you come up with a better idea, we could definitely do that. And we'd be happy to interview you as well. Bring you on board as a feature guest. So, Vinny, we haven't had you on as a feature guest in a long time either, have we? So, you're more than welcome to join us at any time if you're so, if it's something that interests you. I'm just really lazy when it comes to booking people, and I'd rather, I tell you the truth, during my free time, I play it and practice a lot of guitar and song memorization and song composition, writing too. I've got my cover list is up to about, let me bring it up right now. I can put it on screen. Some people might be interested in seeing this. We can talk a little bit about what Jaffe is working on here behind the scenes. There's got to be at least probably 100 songs so far, I would imagine, as far as the covers go. And I like to think that I could do those, like off the top of my head, basically, right? It's taken a lot of work, a lot of time to get my music game to where it is, as far as every vocals and guitar and the compositions. Come again? What's that?
Ready? Here we go. Remember that guy?
No.
It was like Saturday Night Live or something.
Say that again.
Ready?
I'm thinking. You say Saturday Night Live. I'm thinking more cowbell.
Yeah.
More cowbell.
Yeah. The guy who was like,
"Okay,
you ready to hear it? Here we go," and he started playing whatever song.
Was it
that guy?
Are you talking like "Don't Fear the Reaper"? Will Ferrell?
Nah, it was some skit. That's what I thought Saturday Night Live. I could be wrong though.
Oh,
Ready? Here
Well,
you go.
it was with what's his name? Christopher Walken. I got a fever. And the prescription is more cowbell.
Oh my God! What a guy, Christopher Walken. Hey, so. Yeah. Oh man, there's some series. Do either of you know this one? Damn it, I like to revisit it because I started watching the first shows, and it was pretty cool. It's about these there's a TV series, like a Netflix sort of deal. Christopher Walken's in it, obviously, and he's like cast as the grandpa kind of character who's a ne'er-do-well sort of jailbird and con man, so he gets. It's a kind of a work duty unit where they're out cleaning things up, remodeling, refurbishing, and trying to keep their nose clean, as it were, and stay out of trouble. But things don't necessarily work out that way. It's based. I think it's based out of the UK. It's set in the UK. I'm not sure what the name of the series is. What's that, Vinny?
Sounds interesting anyway, but haven't not familiar with it, unfortunately.
Then they're all. I think they've got these orange jumpsuits, and it's just you'd have to look it up. IMDb Christopher Walken TV series, and it just came out in the last few years. So if somebody would do that, that'd be great, actually, because. Another torrent that I'd like to, the wife and I were just last night, finally, because she's so fussy, she's so picky, Sense and Sensibilities. And these Koreans, I tell you, man, oh my God, Sense and Sensibility, because they're, we're in a different, we're just coming at things from a different headspace. And
I'm going to guess it's called The Outlaws, Jaffe?
No, don't think so. No.
That's from 2021. That's it.
Well, what? Give us a synopsis then. What does it say?
It's Christopher Walken is a dead zone. It appears no. Oh, 7 strangers from different walks of life forced together to compete in a community, complete a community payback sentence.
Maybe that's it then. It's called The Outlaws.
The Outlaws, yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Oh, and then they spoiler alert. I think they stumble upon, like, there's this money that's stashed. This huge. I think it's all this, like, ill-gotten gains.
He done struck gold, boys. Right, or something like that.
It kind of. I don't want too much of a spoiler alert, but then it's like, what are we gonna do with this kind of deal? Like, So yeah. But anyways, I got the some of the covers. A lot of these I've recorded a lot of these too on Eva Destruction. Lemmy from Motorhead did a really great version of that. Have you heard? You're a fan of Lemmy, aren't you, Sonia?
Weren't you going to regale us with some tunes?
I'm not going to play anything right now, but I'm just showing you that. Can you not see the playlist here I've got? No, you can't see this.
Mm-hmm.
So
Speaking back.
That's like
Glory
Beatles.
Days.
That's like, yes,
Yeah.
Bruce, Sonia's favorite guy. So, musical artist. I love Bruce, but I've also got problems with the guy criticism. So I'm not, as always, beware the cult of personality, whoever it is, just so long as you
Yeah,
keep
this is
sending
an
us lots of
To
PayPal
separate
donations.
art from artists, right? Sometimes.
That's right. Hound Dog, man. I just recently cranked that one up, and it's like, geez, that's a pretty straightforward, simple song. It's a fun tune. Everyone knows too, right? You ain't nothing but a hound dog.
But I don't know.
Big Mama Thornton did that one first, you know. So a lot of those black artists don't get the credit that they deserve. I fully
Royalties, my friend. They
Well,
didn't sign on the dotted line.
yeah, that's the way the industry ran back
Or
in
they
the
signed
days.
on the dotted
Yeah.
line.
But then people like the Stones, like with the blues artists, the old blues guys, they help, you know, with the British invasion. They really help the Animals and people like that. They really help to, you know, a lot of the old like Howling Wolf and oh gosh, Reverend Gary Davis, how many Muddy Waters, of course, you know, that they managed to make their way over to Britain and find a completely new audience that if they had not, of course, would have found themselves living in a lot, state of a lot greater obscurity than what ultimately proved to be the case. Sister Rosetta Tharpe, my God, people, you gotta check Sister Rosetta. Vinny, have you heard of her?
I haven't, no.
Oh my God, you talk about, she's like the mother of rock and roll. The unacknowledged mother of rock and roll. Check Sister Rosetta out, man. She was just amazing, just beautiful, just quite a spirit. So,
Well, I take it she was because should she have been what Tina Turner was?
what do you mean? In what sense?
Oh, I know. I mean, I don't know her at all, so I'm just wondering if she should have been the one that instead of Tina Turner, it should have been this person.
No, it was a different age. They're each of their own time, and
Gotcha.
each, just Tina Turner was more electric. She was the acid queen. There's no doubt about that.
Gotcha.
Whereas Sister Rosetta Tharpe was more like real, like rhythm and blues, kind of soul rock, a little like the rockabilly kind of edge, and just a fun, yeah. She had a lot of gospel in her background as well. So
interesting.
Yeah, just recently started playing this one. Keep Your Hands to Yourself. Used to do that in a band when I was like a teenager. I didn't sing it.
It's a fun little ditty, right?
Yeah, I got a little change in my pocket, going jingle, angle, angle. Neil
now,
Young.
You do the stomp? Do you do the stomp and the clap, or no?
What the hell? What do you mean with stomp and the clap? I used to have the clap, but I got that cleaned up. Thank God.
I can't stop.
What are you I got a little change in my pocket, going jingle, angle, angle.
Don't tell me no lies and keep your hands to yourself.
That's right. Yeah, sure. So, and the thing is, for the real, see, this is not so bad, obviously, with a Western audience, but can you just imagine being here in South Korea, like where their English is limited? If you're playing to a diverse audience, people walking, like the last place I situated myself was in a local park. I got sent packing from off of the library grounds, told that I couldn't play there, even though I was told that it was a popular place for buskers. Apparently it's not. I had the wrong sort of information. So
you just ran into an unhappy camper. That's all it was.
Well, no. It's like government property, basically, and there's it's the same for everyone. It wasn't because I'm an outsider or nothing, but there is a lot of prejudice and discrimination here in Korea. It works both ways though too, in both positive and negative sense of discrimination. The prejudice, the way they immediately assume things about foreigners. So as you can see, like there's a lot here. Little sister, little sister. And Elvis used to play Little Sister with Get Back, the Beatles tune, right? Little sister, don't you? Da, 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 da. Little sister, don't you kiss me once or twice. Tell me that it's nice and then you run. Right? You know, and then little sister, don't you do what your big sister done. That baby, what you want. That recently, oh, who the hell did that ever say? Jimmy Reed, I think. Jimmy Reed. Baby, what you going up, going down, up, down. Yeah, baby, what you want. I can't do it right now with the headphones on. It's a little distracting. And if you got the guitar, it helps. Trust me. It's just get in the groove and so on. Bird on the Wire, the Leonard Cohen. This is like a Willie Nelson tune. Beatles. I got some Lead Belly, several Lead Bellies. There's a few originals. You Are My Sunshine. That's a classic. Everyone loves that. It's a good old sing along, right? Tom Petty. Yeah, originals. So people can see Cat Stevens, U2. What else? This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Van Morrison does the best cover of that I've heard to date. He put that just a few years ago. I love it. It's just beautiful.
Van Morrison's pretty cool, I must say.
I met him in person. Did I ever tell you that?
I don't think so. That must have been fun.
Oh my God! I tell you, it's like my life. It was like my life's mission was complete. So yeah, it was great. He was pretty cool. Only talked for a couple brief minutes, but it was something you'll never forget. So what else we got
you
here?
You were buzzing the entire weekend at that moment happened, weren't you?
What's that?
You had fun the entire weekend after that moment happened, didn't you?
Oh, geez. I still, it lives with me even to this day. And I was back like in 1999. I was on tour via the UK and Europe. And just a girlfriend of mine at the time was helping show me around a few places. And just we lucked out. And we got the inside scoop, I guess, the track on where he was going to be that night, as far as his lodgings were concerned. So it was called the Chase Hotel. It's Ritzy hotel location. After he'd done a couple shows at this jazz festival, Ross on Wye in Wales. So, but yeah, talk to him and talk about a few things about him being in Vancouver with Joni Mitchell and Bob Dylan back in 1999. He was confused, like, where are you from? He's like, oh, where are you from? He's like, oh, British Columbia. He's like, oh, British Columbia. I was like, yeah. I was like, where is that? I was like, well, Vancouver. I was like, oh yeah, you're out there with Joni Mitchell and Bob Dylan last year. He's like, oh yeah. So, and talked about writing a song where I one of my originals, Van Morrison was singing while we emptied our wine. Your sweet lovin' nearly blew my mind. Yeah, it shook me. And he looked at me. He's like, "Oh, you must have been air sick." So, was suffering from what do they call that when you have air? Was that when you travel? Not air sickness. You got you make an international flight. And you're suffering from jet lag. Oh, you must have jet lag. Yep. But he was very affable. He was in a good mood, and I mean, at first I just introduced myself. It's a long story. I was talking to his guitar player at the check-in location first. His name was Johnny Scott. Signed my birthday card. It was like my 30th birthday at the time, and then turned around. There was Van Morrison, and I don't see auras. But with him, I swear to God, there was this burst of white light, mostly white light energy that just manifested. I turned around, like, there he comes walking towards me on his shoulders and around his head. That's what I saw. And I just looked at him and I didn't say anything. Well, we kind of acknowledged each other in the sense of making eye contact. And I just kind of sheepishly made my way back into the lounge area. I was like with my girlfriend. There were other people that had been on the show that night. There were two shows, I guess. They were at one of them at least. But And he's here. He's here. He's like, oh wow, he's here. Shh, oh my god. And he actually ends up coming into the lounge area, like looking around a little bit. Nobody's talking. Everyone's like kind of staring at him. It's a little uncomfortable, and I just stood up and introduced myself, and because I wanted to talk to him at that point. I didn't want to bother him for any photos or anything, and because I know that he can be a little bit sort of, he has a reputation of being a little prickly at times, shall we say. But my experience with him is that, like with a lot of, he's a very spiritual guy, actually. He's very spiritual, and he is eccentric, but he's also, he was the only really high profile artist that I'm aware of. My respect for the man, really, it increased so much, and he'd been knighted by the Queen, let's not forget. So maybe a slight misstep on her part, but what have you. He was what there were so few artists, songwriters, performers, people who had it within their ability to speak out and say, no, this is not right. There's something, this does not make any sense. No, there are problems here. Why are we being told this? This whole lockstep agenda. No, I feel fine. No, natural immunity, vitamin D. I like to go out and get some sunshine. I don't want to be locked up inside. I want to go out and get some sunshine. Sunshine is my medicine. I think I understand now why Dr. Evil Gates wants to block the sun. I'm kind of connecting a few of the dots here. He was too, and he wrote about it. Go and check, and he took a lot of flack for it too. But then Eric Clapp, what's that?
Jeffrey, wasn't it so disappointing when Neil Young totally kowtowed to that whole thing?
Yeah. Springsteen, look at Bruce here, right? Bruce, like Bruce, just Willie Nelson. Yeah, go out and make sure you get your shit. It's like, boy. So that's what I mean. Like people like Bruce, art versus artist, as you say. That's so true. I can love their music, love their comedy, maybe even movies or what have you, except for Robert De Niro. He's finished. He's a done deal, obviously, just the way that he lost a lot of people. And not that he cares, because he's got all that FU money, right? So we're seeing the real Robert De Niro. The mask is off. And
I think we have yet to see the real Robert De Niro.
Robert De Niro? What did he do?
What
didn't he do?
I don't know. I guess I missed that.
Yeah, well, he was just a maniac, basically. He was a total man, just a raving lunatic. And he was like, and look at him with those award shows coming out. It's like F Trump and F, this, and he's like, he's
the award show, so not sure.
What am I doing? I'm kind of chilling out on camera here. Jesus, good thing I wasn't pleasuring. I wasn't pleasuring myself.
You weren't tubing?
I wasn't. Yeah, I wasn't. I was a little slack though. There, I'm gonna readjust. This is the thing. It's like, yeah. Speaking, the mask is off. Ooh, yeah. The shorts are off. Everything's off. It's all woohoo. We're going. Hey, Skyclad ain't bad. We're going.
Oh, we won't worry until we see the box of Scotties.
What are you talking about? What?
Jeffrey Tubin, remember?
Oh, you're talking about like tissues or something, like
yeah.
Oh, gross. Yeah, that's gross, man. Anyways, yeah, that guy, and then they rehired the guy.
And they rehired him. Yeah.
That is like, CNN. All right, and how much? And speaking of which, how much was Panderson Pooper Vanderbilt? Do you know that how much of his salary is paid by Pfizer?
Way too much.
A lot, like 2/3. Big pharma. So you wonder, and how many times did we hear the term conflict of interest mentioned, brought up throughout the course of the scamdemic with any major media outlet? I mean, there are some some here within the digital underground, the fifth estate, clearly, and we're hammering away at Charles Lieber and, so much that was going on via that end of things. Former Harvard professor Charles Lieber, he is such a critical part of what took place, the Rockefeller lockstep nonsense and so forth. But going back to Van Morrison, Eric Clapton got really sick
Yes, he did.
twice, not just once, and his family's mocking him. His family was saying like, "Oh, you're just a lunatic. You're off your rocker. You're crazy, Eric." And he's like sick as all hell. And then he gets together and collaborates with Van Morrison on a few numbers. So Rebels was one. Rebels is a really great song. I think it's like one chord. I love it. It's maybe two chords.
Jeff, you see how hard the brainwashing
Where
is,
are the
right?
rebels? Where have all the rebels gone? That's what Van Morrison's asking. Where have all the rebels gone?
That's what we're all saying, man. That's what we're all saying.
The phony rock and roll, was it all just a show? These fake rebels, Sorry.
This is all bread and circuses, right?
Well, yeah. It's like they're spineless. They're cowards. I just cannot. I don't get it, man. Other than the fact that they're worried about, it's the bottom line. They don't want to sacrifice what they've invested, their stake in things financially. They do not want to put at risk as a result of speaking the truth. The emperor wears no clothes.
Yeah, well, they fell for the Sabatine sucker punch, man. That's when they catch you in a weak moment and they co-opt you, and then everything you say from that point forward is useless because it bears no resemblance to any point that you used to stand on.
What do you mean the Sabatine sucker punch? Hey, there's a great shot of Sammy Hagar, someone who it'd be great. Wouldn't it be cool to have him on our show talk about UFOs a little bit? So
I heard he makes a good tequila too.
Sammy Hagar.
Yeah,
he's cool. I like Sammy. I'm not really. I haven't really followed his music career that much. He used to, Solo. I Can't Drive 55, big hit. Van Halen did did not listen much to that. Right. But as a personal guy, like he's going around interviewing people and doing a great job with meeting with Alice Cooper, Joe Walsh, just like a lot of the old kind of classic rockers that have survived to this stage of things. So stand by, folks. I'm going to try to get only you two here behind the scenes were privy to what you saw, just with me in a more relaxed state, as it were. So chilling here, and I was just reclined, it's not a good way to when you're working to generate quality flow and state of consciousness. That's not the best way to go about doing it, I've noticed. So over the years. So just because I guess it's just the way energy flows. You should not. I lay down too much too when I'm at home, just on my own. Get a little too lazy and slack, unfortunately. So that's not good either, because of the way when you digest food. You know what? I'm going to change that background one more time. Just go back to the van that I had there, and then bring myself up on camera. So this is all being run through Skype right now too. It'll be interesting to see what happens when Teams comes around. I mean, we could have done this through Teams, as it were. So
they only go hour time with Teams. Apparently, you got to recall every hour.
What? Whoa. Yep. Hey, whoa. Come on now. See, I thought there was going to be something, and they want you to pay, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
So come again. So you're saying, wait a minute, that you can only run Teams for an hour, and then they cut you.
Yes. During break, Mark calls everybody back. So If you break,
Ah.
then you can call everybody back.
All right.
And it starts over again, you know.
Check that's crazy, man. And they're just, they're going to keep putting the chokehold on the slippery slope. It's what's known as a slippery slope, kind of like a boiling frog approach, but just a squeeze, on people more and more as time goes on. So, hey, check this out. Susan Rice came to South Korea a few years ago. I saw her when she visited Korea University. Well, you should have talked to her, man. Zane. So, Jesus said, and when they kill me, they shall be removed from the kingdom of heaven. Yikes. Yeah. And put him to death because he was exposing their blatant flagration of God's laws. Okay. Well, I think it is blasphemy. They said that he claimed, they were saying that he was trying to make himself a god, man, or some blasphemy on that level. And when I think really it's this business of I and the Father are one, that's Eastern non-duality, folks. It's Eastern non-duality. Why Eastern? Because the guy got around. He was missing for 18 years. Come on now. Sheesh. Like, really? How stupid do they expect people to be? It's ridiculous.
Sheesh.
So, anyways, all right. Well, there's Jaffe back on screen with his little VW on his way off to see Sonia in the Phoenix desert, I guess. Is that what it looks like around Phoenix, New Mexico? That's sort of the backdrop.
More Sedona-ish, but yeah, it's pretty deserty.
Okay. Did either of you get a chance then to check out the talking points? We've got about 20 minutes or so here left to show segment number 315 of World Pirate Radio News. Myself, your trusted host and companion, as always, the Robin Hood's Chief Communications Officer, Jaffe Ryder, Sonia Galactic, helping out via Phoenix, Arizona, and of course, Vinny from Brooklyn. Last week, it was Robert Morningstar. So it's really a crapshoot, folks. You never know who's going to drop in or connect with us here. We haven't been skunked too many times as of late. We've always had, sometimes, as you may have noticed, we've had 5 or 6 people join in and be part of the roundtable format, which this is. It's a news format, obviously, as compared to the feature end of things. Some people don't understand that. When we used to do the, late night in Korea, which I haven't bothered to pursue lately, just other, shift in focus, attention, energy elsewhere. But if we picked up more sponsorship in support of the show, definitely more inclined to, commit ourselves in that direction. But, until that point, I'm satisfied with the work we've done. Not a problem. Similar with the Friday night feature end of things. If we can't get Svetlana, if we can't make something happen with her this Friday, then that's okay. We'll just keep returning here once a week, dedicating ourselves to connecting with the wider listening world once every 7 days. We've done enough work over the years that, I'm quite happy, pleased with the effort that we've made. There's just such a great wealth and resource for people that are interested in exploring what we've archived. We've really connected with a lot of amazing people from all over the world, on a whole host of different levels, range of topics. Some very much verboten because of the way that certain social media platforms dictate. But free speech must remain and reign supreme. I try to go about handling myself in a sensible manner for the most part. You guys both know I like to joke and jerk around a lot though too, right? So that's just the way it is. And everybody else, you guys are, who's the biggest? Angel would probably be the biggest jackass, really, other than myself, or DK. When he's drinking, it's terrible. When he's sober, he's pretty good actually. He's
Well, actually, Jeffy, listen. Let's say the biggest jackass of the week should go to Chris Van Hollen.
Who's that?
He's the guy who flew to El Salvador to get that MS-13 freak back, Kamar Abrega Garcia.
Oh, the hairdresser.
Well, the guy who they're claiming is not MS-13.
But you think he really is?
The guy is a complete freak, and most likely he's behind. He's got some operational authority because they're expending way too much effort in trying to get this guy back into the United States.
Well, you know, and there's with the whole homosexual angle. That's a big deal when it comes to compromising people too, right?
But why can't people see it? Don't they? People don't remember the case of Jim McGreevey and Golan Sapel, do they? Remember?
No, I never even heard of it.
Jim McGreevey was a former mayor of New Jersey, or governor of New Jersey, and he had a personal assistant, Golan Sapel, who turned out to be his personal boy toy, and was controlling him behind the scenes.
Kind of like Jeffrey Epstein and Les Wexner.
Jeffrey Epstein. That's right. The old honeypot.
Wexner. Yeah.
Old blackmail. Yeah. And it happens time and time again. Once again, this is 1 Corinthians 6:9. Just that word mistranslated. This is Malakoi.
Oh yeah.
Right. And people they it's like they got blinders on. They don't, or they just don't want to deal with it. But guess what? You better deal with it, or the same ruination that happened 2,000 years ago will be coming again.
What are you talking about?
The ruination of society that was mentioned in 1 Corinthians.
You talking about the abomination of desolation?
Boom! All the
ooh, scary stuff, eh? The abomination of desolation. Yeah. What is it? What is this exactly then? The abomination of desolation.
Well, yeah, it's making sick things normal.
Ah, really? That's what it entails. I had no idea.
Well, yeah, it's just part of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and that's a problem. The perversion and sickness to some people. Unfortunately, why do I keep moving the friggin' camera down? It's like, geez, that's stupid. Now it's too far up. God damn. This is why we need a technical producer.
You can do it.
Oh yes, yeah, retarded Jaffe. Hey, by the way, do you know that retarded is back? Have you heard?
No.
They've freed the retards. Well, they freed the retarded in all of us. As far as it's no longer, you can say the word retarded now without running the risk of being canceled necessarily.
I never stopped.
Me neither.
I don't know. It's one of those things. It's just, it's like retarded. All it means, it's from French, people. Don't be so stupid. All it means is late. En retard.
Just slow.
A little slow. That's all.
Yeah.
And by just for the record, people that are like visibly challenged mentally, a little slow. I
don't use the retarded word with them, right?
No, I care for them. I care for them. I give them a lot more time and patience and understanding than most normal people, just because they're special. They're special needs, right? Like,
right.
So
I use the retarded word for people who act retarded. Okay.
Yeah.
People who should know better. That's what the word is for, honestly.
People like the way that sometimes Angel and DK behave themselves. That warrants the label. Is he getting fired up in the comment section yet?
Oh boy.
Oh, he does. Yeah. Like, what? You call me a retard?
No.
Not really.
How dare you?
Yeah.
How?
No, the way I often with anybody, what's that? Huh?
I'm pretty sure it's a decaf situation,
It's a decaf? Decaf?
Decaf. DGAF.
I don't know what that means.
No, I did a tattoo one time. Somebody came into the shop. I had no idea what that meant. This was years ago.
She's frozen.
But
Oh,
they wanted got a back or whatever it was, and I was like, all right, and what does that mean? I don't even know. And they're like, you don't know? It's don't give a fuck.
Oh.
Kind of like the dilly gaff thing.
Or
Yeah.
the fuck it all
Yeah.
medication.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
it's different than that. But
Like I should have trimmed my facial
long
hair here. That was a. I guess that's a DGAF. Yeah, it's an oversight.
that's
But
really bothering.
does it bother you?
I mean,
It bothers me.
really
I'm just looking at it right there, trimming.
So bothering. You totally need to shave next time. Okay.
DGAF, don't give a fuck. Fuck it all. Yeah, the fuck it all. I've been dosing myself heavily on that stuff lately. The fuck it all. If you're not sure what we're talking about here, just look up Robin Williams, people. Fuck it all. Yeah, good stuff.
I have a great team.
It's been helping me get by really quite well. And by the way, breaking news. Gold. Check this out. We bought a little gold way back when. Not much, but a little, because in the event that everything went completely sideways, and as it seems, the current path that we're on, it's like, ooh, boy, it's like an inverse. It's almost like an inverse equation. With the higher the price of gold goes, the more the devaluation of the dollar. The less value that the dollar holds. So right now, gold way up and the dollar, way down. And what's interesting is that first it was the Korean won crashed, and with Yoon trying the martial law bullshit, and then immediately after that, the Korean won was lost like a lot, like over half of its value. And then the Canadian dollar, following that, I didn't look into that too much, follow up on that, but apparently the Canadian dollar, for whatever reason, I think it was Trump's threat, the tariff threat business that it reacted that way. Or that was the official, oh yes, Cinderella or Snow White, you look just wonderful. Or is it Snow White's mother? Maybe she's the evil stepmother. Oh, keep your apples to yourself. Not keep your hands to yourself.
Speaking of Snow White,
got a little change in my pocket. Keep your apples to yourself. Yeah. What?
Speaking of Snow White, did you see what a train wreck Rachel Zegler did to that movie?
Yeah. Did I finish my point? Did I flesh that one out enough for people? I'm completely lost now. You can tell I'm running on a steam. We've only got a few minutes left. And I got to check the comment section. But yeah, Snow White. Yeah. That's just, why even bother? That's Naroki Five's. That's his bailiwick. What's that? Oh, he loves. That's what he talks about. The Red Pill. We'll give him a plug. Red Pill Nation Hangout. Not that he cares, probably, but I don't know. He's a interesting character. So I enjoy connecting with him when we do. It's a lot of fun. I didn't finish this business regarding the gold though. So we sold a little bit. So what they have here, they call it ton. Like one, how much does it weigh? It weighs 1 ton, 2 tons. Well, this is just a little, let's get over here, little square piece. It's like, I think someone said it was an ingot.
Okay.
It's a little square thing, kind of like a little, square that it's about 3/4 of an inch across and maybe half an inch with the thickness.
It was a gold chunky bar,
basically. I thought I had, and so I checked the price is about 350,000 won, which works out to a little more than $300 American. I thought I had just one in a square. The square was just one. one of those. Apparently each cute little square like that, it's 10. So oh Jesus, it was more. I got close to $5,000. because I bought this gold way back when. You know, isn't that something? So
It's at 34.50 now, if I'm correct.
it's the highest it's been in all of history, has it not? I remember back in the day, my dad was like, "Yeah, gold, it's gonna be, it's gonna be at $1,000. You just watch." It's my dad saying back in like the mid '80s, early '80s, $1,000. You watch.
And you didn't believe him at the time?
No, I was a kid. No, of course, I don't know. I was a kid. I wasn't saying yes or no. I was just, okay, Dad, we'll see. You know, I don't know.
Dad. Yeah, I got you.
I don't know.
Well, it turns out, Jeffy, silver might be the thing to watch because it's out of parity with gold right now.
We got what? You're kidding.
It's out. It should be it should be at a certain ratio, and it's out of whack with the ratio because of the manipulations that are occurring.
You're saying that gold and silver are at the same level right now?
No. I'm saying that the parity level, like gold is like it's supposed to be like supposed to be 18 to 1, the parity.
I don't know what that.
You could buy 18 units of silver for 1 unit of gold.
Okay.
Right, and right now that 18 to 1 ratio is not 18 to 1.
What is it?
It's like 100.
100 to 1.
Right, and it's gonna and when it restores, that price is gonna shoot up like a monster.
So when we got a little bit of silver here, oh, I see. So it's been devalued.
Yes.
Well, now's the time to buy silver then, I guess.
Right.
Well, I don't want to.
Not advice from us, right? Just.
Oh, right. Yeah. Right. Just between you and me. That's right. Yeah.
Right.
So it looks like Roger Hansen's dropping in here right at the tail end of the show. Not sure what he's got to say. Is Sonia stoned? Are you high right now, Sonia? Really?
Look at my answer.
What?
Look at my answer.
I don't know. It says like as usual. I don't care. I'd rather people come on the show smoking dope than drinking for sure.
It says yes, Roger, as usual. I don't know what he's talking about.
You don't seem
whatever.
like you don't seem.
Because I was changing my bandana.
Yeah.
Straight.
You seem like you're just a little giddy.
Like,
giddy is the term that comes to mind with you.
He said you're kind of funny and you do silly things. Stupid.
Roger?
Yeah.
That's
what he said in chat.
He's just jealous because you got that new guy lined up. He knows that he's missed his chance now. I'm hooking up with you. Who's that guy? James? It's a guy named James coming to meet you. Is that right, Jimmy?
But a C block.
What? Oh, he's just been sprung, has he? Sprung from the coop?
No.
How many years did he do in C block?
No, I said Roger's trying to do a C block.
Oh, you mean cock block?
Right.
In your case, though, it would be cock block. Sorry, that's a powerful word. That really is, as you're probably aware, it's a powerful word, and
that's the A-bomb. Yeah.
Well, I love it. It's like the N word. Nagger, you dirty little nagger. What? So, but yeah, the C word's powerful. So I love it though, and I don't use it every day. Obviously, it's just when I'm really pissed off with somebody, or I don't know. Hey, do you know, speaking of which, the Korean word for that part of the female anatomy is bodzi. 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 Oh, there you go, Vinny. The next time you bump into a nice looking Korean lady, hopefully she single, and you don't make the mistake and hitting on some. That's not the way you don't want to. That's not a good pickup line, anyways. But yeah, bodzi. It just sounds like pussy, doesn't it? Like pussy, bodzi, pussy
all the time.
Really?
You don't think it sounds like the word pussy? I think it does. So, but anyways, no. Hey, go. Do you know what the Korean word for go is? Ga. What's an old word? Many, mani. Want. Wan, heyo, wan, and then mum, oh ma, father, oh pa, so on and so forth. So hey, we got good numbers here in the live streaming end of things. Last week, Angel was all over us, mocking us. Like, you've only got one person on YouTube. It's like just totally throwing it in our face, not realizing how many people actually check us out via the archived end of things, right?
Wait, so how's he doing? I thought he was taking over Dan Bongino's broadcast.
Oh, give me a break. Did he really say that? Come on.
I thought he did. I thought he said that last week.
That's hilarious. Speaking of people that are super high, like that's no. That I just, well, maybe, maybe. Good luck. But because Bongino, he's too busy now. He's got a new position as, what is it? Head of the FBI?
Director
of the FBI?
Yeah, that's correct.
Thank God. Oh my God. Thank God. Trump made a lot of, not perfect. And even his supporters, like they say, it's a mixed bag. Like, look at the Israel thing is, they bought him off, They bought him off. He got, but I don't know. I guess he needed the money. So with Sheldon Adelson's widow, right?
Right, Miriam, yeah.
That's where all the money came from. And then, now what is this business of him and Iran recently? And that Netanyahu just pushing, with, war versus Iran. We want,
they have to have the war, Jeffy. Otherwise they don't escape. That's the entire point. The war is a distraction so they can get away scot-free.
Netanyahu in particular.
Right.
Well, sure. I mean, the whole thing, and how stupid the mainstream media to think, and to carry on as if everyone watching is that stupid, that they don't realize October 7th was an inside job. And wow. And why? Why? Because, as you say, Netanyahu, it was at that time, the protests that were out in the streets at that time, people, opposing his government and his way of handling, public policy as far as it applied to, people and the region, him wanting to have, to seize total dictatorial powers. In fact, even the judiciary, you're aware of that. Vivian, do you remember that? He wanted to have the power to be able to veto the Israeli Supreme Court. That's and then October 7th came along within a month or two.
It was a total surprise too.
And he was the legal, he was in some major hot legal water as well. Let's not forget. So,
that's curious timing, right? Didn't they have curious timing at 9/11 too? 11 days from then, 11 days from 9/11, they were going to have a Security Council meeting in which they were going to be found guilty of war crimes when 9/11 happened.
What? I didn't hear about this. What are you talking about?
This is 24 years ago. 24 years ago, September 22nd, they were going to be, Israel was going to be taken in front of the Security Council and deemed war criminals.
Who said this?
This is back 24 years ago, so I'd have to go back and see.
Sounds like the similar type, QAnon sort of, fantasy, sort of wishful thinking.
Yeah, except it's not fancy now, is it? I remember, in fact, I believe today that there were attempted airstrikes in Iran.
Israel or with Trump's support?
Not with Trump's support.
Yeah.
They went against his advice.
Right. Yeah, because that's the whole point, is what I was saying. It's come out recently. So that with who is Pete Hegseth?
Hegseth. Yeah.
Hegseth, and then Tulsi, and there are a few other, maybe JD and a few other insiders advising him just to hold off and just, to hold off and just be cool with, as far as the support, as far as like following Netanyahu's orders, essentially, or demands. And also, by the way, apparently Netanyahu wanted to discuss this business over the telephone, and Trump, I guess, said to him, I think you better come here and discuss, talk about these things face to face. You know why?
Well, I know there's a big happy dance going on, basically.
No, it's because the phones are tapped.
Well, remember
the NSA and
yeah,
Mossad, they've all got, remember what they did to Clinton and Monica Lewinsky, right? How that all played out. His phones, the phones were tapped. They were listening.
Well, remember Kalia, right? Kalia turned our wiretaps into a megaphone.
Who? What are we talking about now?
Kalia is what replaced our original wiretapping system.
Really?
Back in 2000.
Is that like Echelon?
Well, it's what it is that they put backdoors in all of the new wiretapping infrastructure.
Oh, so you're talking like going back to like Danny Casolaro and the Octopus?
Yes, all that fun stuff.
Inslaw.
Inslaw, yes, that's right.
The Mossad, the RCMP out of Canada had an interest in that as well too.
That's correct.
The Five Eyes network. Yeah. So, all right. Well, you know what? Here's what we're gonna do right before we close things down here. And this is the thing, we always get this ass backwards, but we're gonna bring up the talking points as what we've had on board here, sort of just in the wings, I guess, more or less, more than anything, in the event. And hopefully everyone can see these without too much difficulty. We'll try to zoom in a little more, closer up. So, Last Man in Asia. Did you get my email, Sonia? That I was hoping that we could do something. You need a headshot, something as to what Angel provided, or something else that I can maybe offer you. Last Man in Asia. Do you know where that comes from, Vinny? And then Jaffe Ryder, Last Man in Asia. Do you know, Vinny? Do you know where that comes from?
No, not offhand.
The original. Do you know the original title, apparently, of Orwell's 1984? The Last Man in Europe.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So Jaffe Ryder, Last Man in Asia. Looks like they want me to go in and submit to. I've been putting this off for years, and
the old biometrics,
the fingerprinting bullshit, and I'm
the database.
I'll be doing it under direct, because it's the only way to get my citizen card. See the way they got the game laid out, that you've now, because everyone is Napoleonic code. You are presumed guilty. You are a suspected criminal. In the West, when I was growing up, I'm not sure if things changed now, but the only time you were fingerprinted was when you're taken in as a suspected criminal, impaired, drunk driving, what have you, right? You're fingerprinted, and you can actually, I think, request to have your fingerprints in the West, places like Canada. At least that was the way it used to be done. If you haven't engaged in, committed any crimes, which I have not here in Korea at all, after 10 years, I think you can ask to have them expunged, something like that. So, but so that's a bit of an issue for me philosophically, and the fact of, with tracking and tracing, as we talked about earlier, especially with respect to not only the governmental Big Brother angle and end of things, but also, well, look, my God, Skynet, Darknet, RFK Jr. Talked about this. CNN did a hatchet job on his presentation speech out of Washington, D.C. just a few months prior to the election, where he first referenced and really drove the point home, this low orbit network of satellites covering the globe. He spoke out quite vociferously, quite forcefully, alluding to drawing people's attention in Washington, D.C. And there were a lot of people that came out to listen to him. And it was, once again, it was the first time that it really registered with me, and what essentially is being set up, this matrix. And this is their faux antichrist, New World Order singularity, which, well, like I said, I mean, if I don't submit to this, I'll be doing it under duress. This is what I'm wanting to have formally entered into the government record, if this is the case, along with paying another fine. It looks like I've paid $40. This is the fourth time. Come again?
Mm-hmm.
Pardon?
Right next to your, right under duress next to your signature when you sign.
Well, yeah. How you say that in Korean exactly, I have no idea. So, but anyways, well, yeah, exactly. So busking, we're going to talk about that. We did a little bit today. China turning against Xi Jinping. There's big things going on. China. You know what? I think Trump's coming out. He doesn't like to lose. He does not like to lose. And you know, so and I think it's, my sense is, you know, he's managed. He's
he's not going to lose on the tariffs, because the tariffs have been okay. The trade between countries is all unnaturally maintained.
Right.
You understand what I mean, right?
Are you also aware that both Karl Marx, the de facto founder of an ideological godfather of communism, and Adam Smith, similarly ideological de facto godfather for capitalism, they both supported and favored free trade, open borders as well, at least on Marx's, from Marx's standpoint. They were both Freemasons. Marx for sure, almost certain, and Adam Smith wouldn't surprise you in the least. But my understanding was that he was Scottish, I believe. So, you know, yeah, a man of prestige and you know, just the circles that he moved in at the during that time, especially, you know, almost like a prerequisite in many cases. But and you know, so they both, isn't that ironic though? They both favor open borders and free trade. You know, so no protectionist tariffs. Like you know, what protect your borders? Like what a absurd concept. Who would want to protect their borders? Just throw your borders wide open to everyone and let them look. Not when it comes to South Korea, though.
Well, that's what the secret brotherhoods are all about.
Sure, yeah, and that's exactly a great point. That's exactly what we have maneuvering in the background here constantly. That very few people, other than likes of ourselves and others, via once again the digital Fifth Estate Underground, are you know, we're able to a little more clearly see. But with Marx, from his perspective, he was, because he was so, dare I say, well, not satanic so much, he was Sabbatean. He had to have been very, very Sabbatean to sabotage Zevi nonsense, you know, where it's like sinning is regarded as virtue, you know, so that that's through sin that they, not the Goy Gentile, because the Goy Gentile, of course, just nothing, they're probably even less than animals, you know, not even, it's like subhuman. But that, why did he support and promote open borders, unrestricted trade? Because of hastening social change and revolution. That was Marx's. That was his whole thing. He's like, they gave him a big hard on. So, anyways, moving along. Yeah, we talked banning cell phones in schools, new FDA to end animal testing, thanks to Jimmy Dore. Good stuff. More Jimmy Dore here. New FDA had purging farmer reps from agency boards. There's some comments that we left here regarding the transfer agreement. And oh, by the way, how many people are aware that there are 150,000 approximately Jews in World War II fighting as wearing Nazi uniforms? Fighting in support of the... You can't, what's that?
The Sonder commandos running the
death camps.
Yeah.
Yeah, that and many other things too. 1933 transfer agreement, working together hand in glove, the Zionists with the Nazis, plus the Holocaust, plus all these nice little, well, or maybe not so nice little Jewish fellows fighting as Nazis equals Israel. It's not that complicated, folks. Keep your eyes on the ball. So, yeah, World Freemasonry. I think King Charles is the head of World Freemasonry, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not a total expert.
Recent statements praising Islam. Isn't it?
That came up over Easter, I guess, did it not? And he took a lot of heat for that, but what does he care? He's the king, right? So, of course, he's going to praise Islam. And that's the thing, as a Freemason, it's order out of chaos, man. And it's like whatever it takes to get the job done. So they've, order out of chaos. It serves the interest of the power elite. It always has it not? Divide and conquer. How old is that technique?
As old as time.
It's been around for a long time. That's right. So, Charles Lieber. So, yeah, if people would like a copy of this, you can just let us know. Hit us up, and we can offer this to you via Patreon. It's a per item basis. So, talks about banking a little bit in Canada. We're trying to get a clearer sense of the Federal Reserve System in Canada through the Bank of Canada. And Lloyd, did you know that this Muppet running for Prime Minister of Canada? He's running. It's the Carney show. It's almost a circus show. It's a Carney show run by like a carnival. The Carney is the head in Canada's big Carney show. Former head of the Bank of England, I guess is what he served as. So, he's a very capable man when it comes to banking affairs. There's no doubt about that. He's well studied and knows his stuff, but not the sort of person I would necessarily want as prime minister. And
but
he's like an empty suit, one of these kind of empty suit characters. Go ahead.
But he takes such a nice picture with Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell.
Now, where are these pictures? I would like to see these. I've heard about it.
They're on Twitter. I can do them for you.
Okay, we'll do definitely. Yeah, appreciate that. Yeah, just a reminder, of course. Let's not forget all of the Americans. How many U.S. military bases have been surrounded now? If you look at a map, let's put this in the chat end of things, and the Peanut Gallery. This will come to you via Fakebook and YouTube. Hey, Jethro, welcome. Good that you managed to connect here and pick up what we have to offer via the tail end of things. So, saying hello to us via, I believe it's the U.S., which state exactly, not too sure. X-Witch mentioned Billy Graham. Well, you know what? The late, great Tex Mars did as well. He covered Billy Graham extensively. Pretty sure, speaking of Freemasons, Billy Graham, just a creepy dude, man. Just creepy dude. I don't care how many presidents he mentored. He went to North Korea. Here's the story, folks. Just one little story. He went to North Korea. He had all these North Koreans that were secretly practicing Christianity. And they tried to contact Billy Graham because they thought he was such a wonderful man. Turns out that Graham took all their information, their names, and so forth. And do you know what he did with that?
Gave it up.
Yeah. He sent it right back to the North Korean Kim Il Sung or whoever. Wasn't Kim Jong Il. Kim Jong Il, I guess, right? And Kim Jong Un. So those Korean names I have trouble with them a lot of times. Yeah, he sold them out, man, and who knows what happened. They're probably not with us here anymore, obviously. But I don't. Yeah, cult of personality people, do not be deceived. Do not be duped or hoodwinked, as the good old Masonic expression,
And so I just put the link there in the chat and also in the DLive chat of Mark Carney with Ghislaine Maxwell.
Okay. All right. And here's one more, just on an Easter note. The last voice the dying thief ever heard. So we'll share this with listeners. And thank you for, this is actually courtesy of Robert Morningstar, the Easter angle, last voice the dying thief ever heard. Oh, Tasmania, Australia. Oh, Tasmania, Australia. Oh, he's living down under. That's not a knife. This is a knife.
That's not a knife. This is a knife.
Yeah. So, well, that's about it, folks. I guess. Are we going to be back this Friday? I have no idea. 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 11 on the East Coast. Could be. Have to play it by ear. It would be great to do a show with Svetlana or somebody else. We'll see what comes up. I just really at the stage right now where it's kind of play it by ear, see what happens. Everyone should know the times by now. Once again, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 11 on the East Coast, Tuesday and Friday evenings. That's Wednesdays, 12 noon here via the Tokyo and Seoul time zone. So do either of you have anything more that you'd like to offer, contribute to just what we've got left here in the last few minutes before we bid adieu to the wider listening audience?
Sonia?
Until we say goodnight, anything more? Sonia, you've got it. You're okay. SoniaGalactic.com. Hey, that's the have you managed to properly configure your Minds account where you have your About section? You have all your links in place, so they go to Sonia Galactic directly, and good stuff. Hey, check this out. Speaking of Alice Cooper, have you heard the story of him meeting Elvis? There's a cool story. So Robert again. Cool. Robert Mornings. I knew about this a long time ago, actually, but Robert, I think he sent it through email, and so I checked it out and figured, oh, what the hell, I'll promote this. Hey, by the way, on the streets of Korea here, I had this military insider. This is really cool. This is someone who was on the inside. He saw the coup going down as it was all attempted coup, as it was taking place just a couple of months ago. He came up to me and introduced himself just after I finished busking out here last week. So his English is pretty good. Whether we hear from him again or not, I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. Young fellow, he saluted me after he left, referred to me as an influencer, and I said, well, a little bit, because it's one of those things where if you have people, if they don't have enough, followers, God, that term it bugs me so much. Friends, subscribers, contacts, okay, people, that you're as part of your network. If you don't have enough, you a lot of people are inclined to, I guess, like, want to feel sorry for themselves, have no confidence. you know, just really down in the dumps. And then the flip side, of course, is if you take off in a big way, it's like, wow, look, we got 50,000 followers on this platform and the other one, and oh my god, and then it goes totally to your head, right?
Some they buy them, you know.
That's true. That's true. That's one thing we have. I know. And that's one thing that we've just refused to do. We're not buying nothing. You go, forget it.
I mean, come on.
This is organic, folks. This is the real deal. Nothing more. We're not buying nothing.
Yeah, I had some clown. I was saying I had some clown say that my 19,000 followers were fake, and you know, I told you I can't reply on my own my own comment section on BitChute, but nonetheless, listen, I earned it fair and square, freak. Yeah, I'm sorry. You couldn't possibly get any kind of following like that, but that's just how it goes.
Yeah, yeah. And how could anyone pick up anything on BitChute? How could you buy subscribers on BitChute in the first place? That I'm not aware of. So,
they do have a pod system for Rumble though.
And the votes you buy or whatever likes you buy can be on any platform. You can actually buy this platform, vote, or followers buy this platform. You know what I mean? It's
even on BitChute,
like
even on BitChute
places.
I didn't know they could do it on BitChute.
Yeah.
I know they can do it on Rumble.
Yeah, well, I'm not. I'll forget it. It's not that expensive either. I'm not going to do it.
Pathetic is what it is.
Yeah.
If you have to buy your support, you've lost supply in the first place.
So that's one thing, listeners that are hardcore listeners and supporters of what we do here, you can let your friends, family, and coworkers know that this is the real deal. We're dedicated, committed, underground, Fifth Estate live streamers who stand in support of free speech, patriotic in many ways, and believe that it's important to make the use of this global technology we have and the current, the day and age we find ourselves to work on engaging in wider conversation and dialogue. If there's one thing that's going to help, with as far as the course that we find ourselves upon as a planet. And by the way, have you ever looked at that word, that term? Do you know what planet really means if you break it down? Maybe not, huh? Plan.
Well, I know that we live on a plane, not a planet.
Okay, but how about this? How about this, Vinny? Plan ET.
Right.
You ever stop to see that one? So, but yeah, I mean, we need to engage in healthy dialogue. That's.
I got
really
a question for Vinny. Vinny, did you see the what is it? The Antarctica experience, I guess, that Duffy and them did in journalism?
Documentary?
I didn't, but it sounds interesting.
They all
Sonia, Sonia, your sound.
I haven't heard of it. Yeah, they all went to Antarctica to. Yeah.
Oh, I was just saying, you got some electronic, your connection. You might want to plug your headset back in, or do something with your connection because it's kind of crapping out a little bit. There's dust in your line. There's some a little bit of electronic interference there.
Well, it was robotic, so I didn't hear what you were saying clearly. So before.
Yeah. Try it again, Sonia.
Wow. I'll try and calm down. Maybe I'm just too excited.
No, it's not that.
So apparently, I don't know.
5, 4.
Go ahead, Sonia.
Come on, we want to hear the Antarctica. Put a cap on it, man. We gotta call this a day.
No better.
Can she not hear us?
Yeah, go ahead,
Yeah, I
Sonia.
can hear you.
Well, let's hear just finish up with what you're saying. We're having some technical electronic interference there. Go ahead.
Is it still going, or should I plug it?
You're crapping out, man.
I'm
You're
going.
cutting
I'm
out.
good.
Try it again.
Let me
Oh my
I'll
God.
plug it in. Hold on.
Yeah.
Talk amongst yourselves.
Okay, well, we're going, man. We're trying to shut this thing down. So let's check the comment section here one more time. There was a lot of activity over there, of course, in a good way. Roger Hansen, Jethro, Zane, DK, a lot of more lurkers actually than people who actually were directly engaging us here. Up to nearly 15 folks is what our stats are telling us here via the several live streaming platforms that we work with. What am I saying? DLive, Facebook, YouTube, HomeNetwork.tv. Let's not forget about them, of course. Sonia, do you want to try it one more time? Oh, and Telegram too, folks. So you can connect with us on all fronts. Go ahead, Sonia. We've only got about 30 seconds. I think she's fallen asleep now. It just disappeared. Sonia. Good God.
Okay.
30 seconds, Sonia. Let's have it.
Can you hear me?
30 seconds. Go for it. We got a delay. I hear what I hear is a delay echo.
That. I'm trying to turn it off. Let me turn it off.
Yeah. Turn it. Yeah, turn that down. Oh,
there we go.
You probably you had YouTube on, didn't you? Anyways, go ahead.
Yeah. Sorry about that. I had to plug in my headphones.
All right, Antarctica. This is a good one. This is value-added content, folks. It's why
value-added content.
It's why you help to support us. That's right. There you go. Share those links. Go ahead.
Okay, so what happened was Jeranism and Duffy went to Antarctica. They were sponsored. I think Duffy paid for the trip. And apparently they went there to film the 24-hour sun.
And hello, can anyone hear me?
I hear you.
I can hear you.
Why? That's okay. Film the 24-hour sun, and what's the punchline?
Well, that's it. Apparently, you don't know enough about FB to get it.
Well, I know.
They did not. There is a 24-hour sun. So now Jeranism he's a glober now. You know.
Oh, I see what you're saying. These were originally flat. These
yes,
part of the flat Earth cult.
Yes.
I see.
Yeah, but now Jeranism, who's one of the biggest dudes, or besides Dave Weiss or whatever, he completely turned around. No, not Eric Dubay. David White. Well, Eric Dubay is one of them too, and Eric Dubay is like, whatever, they're saying it's fake or something. I really don't know too many details, but I do know that Jeranism is a total glober now. Oh. So it's just this huge controversy in the FE community.
Oh, yeah,
and it's very interesting. So Jeranism is what you want to check out, Vinny, if you want to check it out. Look at his show, you'll see all about it.
I still stand by what I've said for several years now, that the whole flat Earth business is a CIA sponsored cult psyop, just something to keep people distracted from more important things, similar to the Mandela effect. It's just another distraction.
It's very interesting. Well, I've looked into the FE thing, and there's a lot of sense in there, so
Well, the problem with the flat Earth psyop, once again, is that it doesn't account for a container. Flat Earth conceives of an edge where water seems to flow off to where.
No, it doesn't. That's the promoted FE.
We will do.
FE doesn't. They don't talk about that.
That's
ridiculous.
I've been saying real flat Earth has a container.
I've been saying for a while now, we'd be happy to do an exclusive feature show, provide coverage regarding the flat Earth, just not right now. So, because we have to go. But if we get somebody booked, I'd be more than happy to bring them on and let them have their day in pirate court, as it were, their day in the dock. So there we go, folks. Yeah,
we'll be walking the plank when we're done with them.
Well,
wow.
We'll be sure to add all of the appropriate show links, contact information, and the like here. As far as the archived end of things is concerned, Sonia Galactic once again, galactifire.com, Vinny from Brooklyn, the Canst Project, Children Not Sex Toys. I myself, as always, the Robin Hood's Chief Communications Officer, Jaffe Ryder, reminding you that until we meet again via these high, often all too in digital seas, keep your ears to the ground and eyes to the sky. Tally ho.